Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. All right, we've got a lot to cover. Every single day with President Trump is taking things to a level that we didn't even dream that a Republican would do in the past, right? I mean, every single day, President Trump is taking us to a whole new point. And, before Trump came down the escalator and began this he founded and began this great MAGA movement, all the Republicans we had before him really were rhinos. They were just rhinos. They would run for office, and during the elections, they would tell all of us what we wanted to hear, but they never delivered on anything. I mean, think about it. The Republican Party platform, go back to 2015, what the Republican Party platform was in 2015, how much of that did any Republican ever accomplish? In fact, you had Republicans, prior to Trump coming down the escalator, Republicans were talking about a path to citizenship for illegals and all these things. Moving the capital, or moving the Israeli embassy to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv, all these things, ending you could make a long list. The Republicans before Trump not only did they not accomplish anything that they ran on and promised us that they would, they never intended to. Because as we've learned, they're a bunch of rhinos, they're in bed with the Democrats, and they're the same as the Democrats. The Republicans in name only. And the rhinos think the conservative public are stupid. And this is what they told themselves. This really, truly is what they told themselves. Well, yeah, okay, we'll tell them what they want to hear. We get elected, we'll do what we want to do. And when the next election comes around, we'll repeat the cycle. Who else are they going to vote for, right? They got no one else to vote for. That's what they told themselves. And it was very, very frustrating because we would have these weakling candidates like John McCain, Bob Dole, and others, and no chance, no hope on winning. They did nothing. They talked. And it was very frustrating being a Republican prior to President Trump. And now we're in a whole new world. And President Trump has changed the world. He's changed everything. And I'm going to go through something new that he's doing now. And this involves the World Cup and the sanctuary city of Boston with their criminal mayor, Wu, who's a criminal. And we're going to break all this down. And no other Republican would even think about doing what President Trump said yesterday. Now, yesterday was it's been just nonstop winning the last few weeks. By the way, you may have noticed I started a little extra early today. Welcome. Caught a lot of you off guard. If you would like to call in, the number's toll free. It is in the live chat pin there, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We're almost an hour before the radio show, and the show has already begun. So Mayor Wu of Boston, who's a racist, remember she had a couple years ago a Christmas party that for local elected officials, and it was only for local officials who were not white. Whites were not allowed. She had a racially segregated, on the invitation, Mayor Wu had a racially segregated Christmas party. Now, I don't know. She's married to a white guy. Was he excluded? She's a racist. And she's openly defying ICE, which by the definition of CNN, MSNBC, and the Democrats, and you liberals that are listening and watching me right now, that's an insurrection, right? She's interrupting government business, the business of ICE, that are enforcing immigration law, which is under their authority of the federal government, under the order of the Homeland Security Secretary, as well as the President of the United States. of which their department falls under his jurisdiction. So Mayor Wu really is an insurrectionist, and which you'll hear in her own words coming up in just a little bit. Now, if you're new to the program, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. If you're watching on the live stream with the green behind me, if you want to see and hear all the audio and video that I'm playing, go to my main stream. There's a link in the description of the video. It'll take you immediately to my main stream here on YouTube, where you can see and hear all the audio and video that I'm going to share. I'm just starting to drink my coffee for the morning, so bear with me. So this started yesterday. This was an interesting thing. Earlier yesterday, before the Charlie Kirk event, which we'll also talk about later, wasn't that amazing? Oh, my goodness. Boy, giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Charlie Kirk, that was, oh, boy. You know, unfortunately, the White House feed cut early, and after the White House feed cut, he went down to the president and talked to Charlie Kirk's parents, and oh, man. I mean, they're just devastated. It's just, it hit them hard. All right, so let's get to this. This was earlier in the day. President Trump had a little bit of a press conference. This is in the cabinet room, and he was asked about the World Cup in Boston.
Are you going to work with or try and work with the mayor of Boston? And then they have a World Cup. They have several World Cup games. I know Argentina knows about World Cups. They have several World Cup games. Could those games move to cities that do work with you?
We could take them away. I love the people of Boston. I know the games are sold out. But your mayor is not good. They're worse than her. At least she's intelligent. You know, some are extremely low IQ. Those bother me more. She's intelligent, but she's radical left.
Yeah. So, and just give you a little more detail. So the president's actually talking about moving the World Cup out of Boston to another city. Here's a little bit more.
I love the people of Boston. I know the games are sold out. But your mayor is not good. The answer is yes. If somebody is doing a bad job, and if I feel there's unsafe conditions, I would call Johnny, the head of FIFA, who's phenomenal, and I would say, let's move it to another location. And he would do that. He loved the.
Wow. So he's already got the plan. He says he can get it done. And let me pull this up. Hold on. Okay, hold on. All right. Getting some pop-ups here.
Boston had some street takeovers that we saw. Are you?
Hold on a second. Let me pull this up. Let me find it. There's a couple of articles on this I want to go through, and then we'll get to Mayor Wu. Oh, let me pull this up. This is the way it's got to be. I mean, you can't be an insurrectionist mayor doing illegal things in your city, which, let me pull, I got a couple articles on this. Okay. Can't do illegal things in your city, which is offered up as a sanctuary city, and just expect that you can have the World Cup and other things come into the city. You know, this is from ESPN. Trump threatens to pull World Cup games from Boston over unrest. President Donald Trump on Tuesday, that's yesterday, threatened to relocate World Cup matches set to be played next year in Boston, parts of which he suggested had been taken over by recent unrest. That's right, Antifa and these other ones. Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts is home to the New England Patriots. It's about 30 miles from Boston. It's set to stage 7 matches as the United States co-hosts the 2026 World Cup with Mexico and Canada. Trump was asked about the city's mayor, Michelle Wu, a Democrat who he called intelligent but radically left. Yeah, and she's involved in an open insurrection against the government of the United States. Trump said about the World Cup, we could take them away. I love the people of Boston. I know the games are sold out, but your mayor is not good. President Trump suggested they're taking over parts of Boston without offering details, but added we could get them back in about 2 seconds. Wu's office issued a statement that read, Boston is honored and excited to host World Cup matches, and we look forward to welcoming fans from around the world to our beautiful city, the cradle of liberty and city of champions. Trump's comments come during his meeting with the president of Argentina, and it wasn't immediately clear what he was referring to earlier in the month, however. Okay, so it goes into that. If you're on hold, hang in there. So he said it. So Mayor Wu, she is a really bad person. I mean, I'll play one clip of her now. This is Mayor Wu.
In just over 100 days, we have connected unhoused residents at Mass and Cass to housing, treatment, and services. We've launched 3 free bus lines. We've taken some big, bold actions, but I won't lie, this past winter was pretty intense. Trial by snow, trial by fire, fighters union. I'm getting used to dealing with problems that are expensive, disruptive, and white.
You hear that? Problems that are expensive, disruptive, and white.
Pretty intense. Trial by snow, trial by fire, fighters union. I'm getting used to dealing with problems that are expensive, disruptive, and white. I'm talking about snowflakes, I mean snowstorm snowflakes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. That's you know, what she said was so outrageous, she even caught herself and said, maybe I've gone too far. Here's,
You belong.
let me pull up. Here's another clip of Mayor Wu. You know, the president is doing the right thing. If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, please do.
We stand with immigrants. You belong here.
Immigrants is what she refers to as the illegals.
We stand with immigrants. You belong here. Somos una ciudad de inmigrantes. Boston doesn't back down. We are a city where the Irish coffee is strong and our opinions are stronger. We may not always agree or see eye to eye, but at the end of the day, we are a family. If you come for one of us, you will get all of us.
Okay, and she's talking, of course, to the president. So she is a mayor who is involved in an insurrection against the federal government. I have more, which I'll share as we go on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. I'll get back to more of Wu. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. Here's another clip of her.
You belong here.
Hear that?
Somos una ciudad de inmigrantes.
Okay, oh, that's the one I just played. Okay, here's the other clip.
I don't know of any police department that routinely wears masks.
ICE. What about ICE?
We know that there are other groups that routinely wear masks. NSC 131 routinely wears masks.
Mayor, just to clarify, are you comparing ICE, you said, to NSC 131, the neo-Nazi group? Are you comparing them to a neo-Nazi group?
What I said is that Boston Police and no police department that I know of at the local level routinely wears masks.
Wow. Okay. So a couple questions here. Do you agree with President Trump that he should consider pulling the World Cup out of Boston? Also, is Mayor Wu, is she leading, as she's the leader of Boston, she's the mayor, is she leading an insurrection against the federal government? 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, my name is Kara. I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hey, Karen.
Kira.
Kira. Okay. What's on your mind, Kira?
Yes, I called the other day about abortion. We can agree to disagree.
Oh, you called yesterday about abortion. Yes. Yes, I remember the call.
Yes. And I'm calling again about ICE.
Okay, well, hold on one second while I answer some lines. Okay. Okay, what are your thoughts on ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement?
I don't know if you think this, but do you think it's an abuse of power to put the troops in certain cities? Because like I said, I called yesterday. I'm a Democrat, but I agree with most of what Republicans have to say. So how do you feel about when it comes to putting troops in certain cities? Because when last time I checked, Republicans they don't want government in their cities. Last time
Well,
I checked.
no, we don't want Republicans are not against government. Okay, there's been a long history of, sadly,
Yes.
because Democrats are lawless people, and throughout American history, Republican presidents have had to send troops into cities because Democrats were defying federal law. An example of that was Republican President Eisenhower had to send troops in because Democrats wouldn't let black students go to school with white kids after the Supreme Court had ruled that segregation was
Okay, I didn't know
unconstitutional.
that.
So there's a
I'm a
long
black
history
woman, so
of
I
Democrat.
never
Hold
knew
on,
that.
let me finish. There's a long history of Democrat insurrection and defiance of the federal government, the presidents, and the Supreme Court. So sadly, sometimes you got to send the troops in to make Democrats do what it is they don't want to do.
But even the mayor said that they don't want the troops in the city.
Who
So
cares?
How do you feel about?
Who cares what they think? They're liberal jerks. Most of them are on the take.
Okay.
I mean, why think about
I
it.
just feel
Think
like
about think about the number of shootings that are taking place every week in Chicago. It's a city overrun by illegals from the cartels, MS-13, Trinde, and all of that. What kind of
But you
mayor?
don't feel like that's a use of overpower. Like I
No.
sometimes feel like yeah, you are the president, but even the mayor doesn't want you in the city. Sometimes I feel like it's
But the
an
mayor,
overuse of
don't you
power.
understand? These mayors are in bed with the criminals. Why would the mayor of Chicago not want the international murderous gangs out of their city? Why would they not want that? That doesn't even make sense.
I see what you're saying, but it's just like you can sign a paper, and I just think that Republicans stand for the state, what the state wants, and I feel like that your president that you voted for, sometimes he just overuses his power, and it could be a little much.
No, in
you
fact,
know?
he's very restrained. He's not even using all of his powers. You know, what you have, see, like in these liberal cities, you don't have a functioning government. You have local and state officials who are in bed with these criminals and these cartels, and the people that live in these cities and in these states are being victimized by criminals, and the mayors and governors are doing nothing about it. They're criminals. You know,
Now listen, like you guys in the chat, y'all can laugh all you want to. I agree with a lot of Republican views.
Now, give me an example. What do you agree with on Republicans? You agree with a lot of Republican views.
I agree that people that come to the country, they should come here correctly. As a black woman,
Yeah, well, that's the
correctly. I'm Caribbean.
yeah.
My parents came here correctly. My parents came here from Trinidad and Tobago. My parents, they did the right way. So I agree with a lot of views when it comes to Republicans. So you guys can laugh all you want to. I agree with a lot of views when it comes to this man, Brian. So it's just a lot of things that I feel like it's stepping on people's toes. Like
No, it's only stepping on the toe. It's only stepping on the toes of the drug cartels and people like that. Hey, listen, appreciate the call. We'll talk another day. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once.
Hello.
Yep.
Hello.
Yes.
How are you?
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Eric from Michigan.
All right, Michigan. What's on your mind?
Just as far as the masks go, I think they should be able to wear the mask because they need to protect themselves from these radical people who, if they knew their identity, would probably seek these people out and do.
That's why they want them. That's why they want them maskless. That's why they, listen. The ICE agents are dealing with these drug cartels, right? If you notice throughout my entire life, I would watch the federales, the police down in Mexico, do arrest. They always have masks on because these cartel people that have infested American cities, courtesy of the Democrats, they get your face, they identify you, and then your whole family's in danger. They also don't wear name tags so that they don't get their names.
The same reason they need to protect themselves. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The leftists went so far from from their base, from what they claim to represent and what they claim to stand for. It's become such a radical thing. Even our police officers don't have even an ounce of the respect that they should for holding our country together and keeping us all safe and allowing us to live the lives that we live.
Absolutely.
And these leaders in these liberal cities, states, they've gone too far, and a lot of people see the tides turning and things going in another way, and I think they're just mistaken.
Well, listen, what happened? Listen, this is what happened here. Invasion USA was not an accident. It was done by design to change the demographics of the country. The Democrats saw years ago that they were losing the American people. They've lost huge chunks of the black vote, the gay vote, the youth vote. And so they were shipping in tens of millions of a peasant class from these other countries, setting them up in a life of retirement on government assistance. And all they asked in exchange was for their vote. That's what they were doing. They were the replacement theory was a replacement fact, and they were stopped dead in their tracks by this. That's it.
Yeah, I've heard some terrible stories as far as how far they've gone, as far as what they.
Well, it doesn't matter where they've gone. It's over now. It's over. It's been stopped. It's been reversed, and the American people are wise to them. And that's one of the reasons the Democrats are so out of control. They see no future with their movement, with the immigration policies being enforced. And there have been millions of illegals deported. Millions have self-deported. They're freaking out. There's no the American people have rejected the Democrats, and they know it. And now this
I hope things keep heading in that direction. I really do.
They will. I just was reading today, Kansas is about to do their redistricting because the census overrepresented certain groups. The Democrats are overrepresented in Congress, probably by 20 or 30 seats at least. And they know this. They're in a panic.
Yeah, I live in Michigan, the southeastern part of Michigan, and I believe we have the same issue here.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. No doubt. Well, listen, welcome to the program from Michigan.
Yeah, thank you very much. I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, and God bless you. And,
well, thank you. America. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe, all right? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You there?
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm anonymous from Denver, Colorado.
Anonymous.
Question for you, sir. Why do you want Trump back in office?
Question is, why do you not? What's your beef with Trump? What's Trump doing that's so bad?
Trump is a liar. He would not release the Epstein files. He's done nothing good for this fucking country. So explain to me.
I don't understand. I'm very confused by your unhinged rage. Why would you use the F word in describing our great country?
Trump is nothing but chaos to this fucking country.
What is it with you and the F word?
He's done nothing good, sir.
Yeah.
Trump is a disease.
Yeah. What do you offer? What do you think a president should offer that would make the country good? Like if you had your perfect president, what would they be doing?
Fuck Trump.
No, not Trump. Tell me your perfect president. And he hung up. There you go. There you go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right. Now, welcome to the program. Those of you that are new, my name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. And if you'd like to support the program, there's many ways to do that, and one of the best is to go to mypillow.com and use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. This expansion of the program came on an hour before the radio show today, and I've expanded the morning show to 4 hours. That is all sponsored by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. This is the second month of that, and the first month was a great success. And the great Mike Lindell will continue the expanded sponsorship of the program, allowing me to do all of this extra content as long as you're going to mypillow.com and using the promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. There's huge specials going on there right now, as well as a free shipping offer. You can use my promo code Kane at checkout on all the specials. Look at this, the 3-in-1 sale, the 6-piece MyPillow towel set, $30 off. The limited edition premium MyPillows at bargain prices. The MyPillow bed sheets. I have all these products, just $29.88, and that's any size, any color, from twin all the way up to the king sizes, split king, California king, every size in between, any size, any color. You can get the MyPillow sheets for just $29.88 with my promo code Kane. And if you spend $100 or more, you get free shipping. So let Mike Lindell know you support my program by using my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com. All right, let's see if we can elevate things a little bit. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, what's up, man? Calling from Los Angeles.
Okay. What's your name? First name. What's your first name?
Hey, what's up? Say that again?
What's your first name?
David.
David from Los Angeles. What's on your mind, David from LA?
David. So I'm from downtown Los Angeles, Los Angeles, California, it's more democratic, I see you tend to be more red, and I respect that, I see both sides, and, well, no human being is perfect, but, there are problems here, I'm from downtown Los Angeles. I do agree with some of Trump's things, but I'm not really a Trump fan, Let me tell you this quick story that happened in my sister's school with, the policy that's going on with Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
The whole immigration thing, riots have been going down here, the people, the people push back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of...
Well, that's called an insurrection. The people are... L.A. was involved in an insurrection against the federal government.
Yes, but they push back,
Well, that's illegal. That's illegal. That's a crime.
No, hold up. Let me say, I don't agree with violence. Hell, that was taxpayer money that was destroyed, At the end, we're going to pay for it. I get that. But, I was trying to tell you the story that happened in my sister's sister's school.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the whole immigration thing, it's kind of a hard subject. You have a lot of second generation, stuff like that come from, immigrant backgrounds, Well, everybody's pretty much an immigrant in America,
No, that's not true. No, it's not. No, that's not true. That's not true. We're not all immigrants.
Well, this was native land, and, Europeans came on boats and everything, but...
Yeah, 500 years ago. 500 years ago. Half a millennia ago. Give me a freaking break.
No, well,
you act like they just came here like a month ago.
I'm not using it to contradict and say you're bad. Everything, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I didn't call you to insult you because you're red. You tend to be more right wing or whatever.
No, I'm MAGA. I'm proud MAGA. MAGA for life. Here, let me tell me what happened at the school. Tell me what happened at the school.
Okay, so one of the classmates, the mom and the sister, they were running an errand, they were in Chinatown in downtown Los Angeles. Boom, they get popped by the bounty hunters. Bam, bam,
Bounty
they
hunters?
Get popped by the bounty hunters.
What do you mean bounty hunters?
The bounty hunters that have been going around, arresting people and turning.
Well, bounty. You mean like private? You mean like private business people that are professional bounty hunters?
Yes, correct.
Well, bounty hunters seek out people that have warrants for their arrest.
Right.
So what? The mother driving the car? Did she have a warrant?
No, they were waiting for the bus.
Yeah.
They were waiting.
Well,
for
somebody
the bus.
Somebody had a warrant for their arrest. Here's the problem. A couple things. One, you say everyone's immigrants. No, I'm not an immigrant. I'm a Native American. I was born in the United States. Mexicans are not indigenous to the Americas either. If you go back far enough, Mexicans and everyone in Latin America pretty much is descendant of Europeans too, just not white ones, right? Spaniards or Portuguese. So I don't get, this thing. And this accent that you have is not an American accent.
You're saying I don't have an American accent?
No, you do not. I have an American accent. You have a Mexican accent.
Well, everybody's entitled to their opinion.
I'll give you an example. Like when I was growing up, there was a very popular movie about Southern California called Valley Girl. You ever heard of Valley Girl?
No.
Yeah, see, that's because she got this foreign accent. If you had an American accent, you would have heard it. Valley Girl was about a bunch of girls in the valley out in L.A. that had California accents. Like, oh my God, oh, like gnarly, oh wow, you have like a Mexican accent.
Okay, that's cool.
So what's happened is the United States has been invaded, and there are large portions of the United States. One of those portions is Southern California that is currently under foreign occupation by Latin Americans, most of which are here illegally or came here illegally. I mean, come on. How old are you?
How old am I? I am 36.
Where were you born?
Here in Los Angeles.
See, this is the problem. When the Los Angeles, if what you're saying is true, when a Mexican accent has replaced the Valley Girl accent of Los Angeles, our country is being not just invaded and occupied, it's being colonized. Where are your parents from? Where are your parents from originally? What country are your parents from?
Before we get to my parents, I just want your quick opinion. So what do you think about the people that were living in Los Angeles before it was the United States? Before, they went to the war.
I don't. Let me tell you. If California, which is a beautiful breadbasket of a state, if it would have stayed under the control of the Spaniards, it'd be just like Mexico today. It wouldn't be a paradise. It'd be and LA's a dump. Where are your parents from originally?
Where are my parents from?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yes.
I speak 3 languages.
I didn't ask how many languages. What country are your parents from?
My parents are from Brazil.
See, your parents are colonizers. They colonized in Los Angeles and had you. And that's why the Valley Girl California accent has turned into this, which I've heard people like you refer to as a Los Angeles accent, a Los Angelino accent.
Yeah, my English is slower. It's slower.
Yeah, but English should be your first language. This is America.
English is my first English.
That doesn't.
English. I went to American schools.
Well, what others? If you were born and raised in L.A., what other kind of schools would you go to other than American school? Hey, listen, appreciate the call. Oh my goodness, do you guys get what I mean about Valley Girl? All right, let's go. Let's take some more calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh my God, am I?
Yes, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Okay, my name is Lorna Charles. I'm calling from Los Angeles, California.
Welcome.
And I have insomnia, and I love your show.
Thank you.
I'm a black female Trump supporter. And let me tell you about President Trump. I'm following him since the 1980s.
Awesome.
He was so popular. And listen, before I call you, Daddy G's like, call Brian Craig. Oh, Lord, can I get through? But remember, he was on what's his name? What's his name? But anyway, let's talk about President Trump.
Yes.
I am a Generation X, born 1970, February the 20th, 1970.
Awesome.
I grew up in the 1970s and 1980s and the 1990s. 1990 is the last great decade of the pop culture. The world sucks, okay? And people, they go on Donald President Trump. Y'all love Trump until he won for president in 2015. And President Trump got a picture of my auntie.
Yeah.
He is a picture of my auntie. And are you familiar with Gary, Indiana?
Sure.
President Trump brought the casino to Gary, Indiana.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Back in the late 1980s.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And listen, what pissed me off? What pissed me off is that Trump was so well loved in the 80s and the 1990s and the 2000s until he ran for president.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we sitting against this beautiful man?
Yeah, I know. They all loved him till he came down the escalator.
You know why? Because, well, the Freemason is real. That's the
well. Listen, I'm gonna move on. Listen, welcome to the program. I got a full board of calls, so but call me again sometime. You're a very good caller. You have a lot to share.
Okay. And Brian Craig, I love your show.
Well, thank you.
Keep it right there.
Thank you very much. All right, very nice lady. Both, and her and the previous caller, both from Los Angeles. We're big in L.A. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, hold on. Let me answer these lines. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Lorraine. I'm calling from West Virginia.
Lorraine in West Virginia. Good morning. What's on your mind?
Well, I've heard a lot of talk about immigrants, illegal immigrants.
Yes.
Does anybody realize that y'all been paying their salaries for years? That you've actually been condoning that practice for years? Because if you're going to the grocery store and you've been buying for the last 20, 30 years, groceries, you've been paying their salaries.
Okay, so what's that got to do with today?
Okay. Well, if you were not uncomfortable with them then, what's the big problem now?
Okay, first off, the conservatives have, for many, many years, been trying to shut down the border and do what President Trump is doing for over 20 years. We just didn't have any Republicans that intended on doing it, okay? So we've wanted Republican presidents and members of Congress to do what's happening right now under President Trump. Just none of them would do it. So this isn't new.
Yes, but what it is that every last person who's Republican now that wants to get rid of all the workers, the field workers, and they haven't been replaced because...
No, they're not. In fact, President Trump told ICE not to deport those people because they're going after people that are first criminals that have a criminal history, okay, and they're doing that around the country. There's millions of others illegals to deport, and he told them to lay off of the farms because that would have an impact on the food prices. We'll do those last. So the farm workers are not being deported unless they have some felony warrants out for them or something, but they're not being deported or targeted by ICE.
Well, ICE just took a 14-year-old girl who was an American citizen.
And did what?
Drug her out of a car.
Uh-huh. And did what?
Okay.
And did what? So now that you learn that about the farms, you're going on to a whole nother story. Listen, a lot of times you understand that a lot of these, the illegals that they're targeting are people that are with these organized criminal organizations, MS-13, Trinda, the cartels, or have warrants. And why do you think when ICE stops an illegal that has children of any age, why do you think they take the children away from them? Why do you think? And if you don't get it right, I'll tell you, but why do you think? Why do they do that?
No, the girl's parents.
No, I didn't. Excuse me. They stop someone that's an illegal. They have children with them. Sometimes they're teens, sometimes they're babies, or anywhere in between. Why do they separate these children from the parents? Why do you think? Why do they do it?
I don't think that there's no reason to do
Yeah,
it.
of course there's a reason to. See, this is why you're a Democrat. You don't understand what's going on. The reason they do it is to question the children, question the illegal that they're about to deport, and find out if they are really the parents of that child or if they're trafficking them. That's one of the reasons. And when someone's being arrested, no matter what the crime is, you don't keep their children with them when you take them to the jail either. That's why they do that.
Do you know that they transported 58,000 illegals in this country?
They did what?
Okay.
What?
The English sent 58,000.
The English? You mean England sent 58,000 people here recently?
No, they did it at the beginning.
When's the wait, the beginning. When is the beginning? What year are you talking about? When is the beginning?
We're talking about prior to this country becoming a country.
Well, what the hell does
even
that got to
after.
do with the price of tea in China? That's irrelevant to today. You know, every time I take down one of your points, you move on to another one. You're a liberal in denial. You're a liberal in denial. You don't want to hear anything, and you move on.
No, I'm sorry. I must apologize. You have this idea that this is America.
It is. It's the United States of America. Yes.
No, it's not.
Oh, really? What is it?
Well, put it like this. If it was illegal to steal before America became a country, and it's illegal to steal after America became a country, okay, then what you've stolen cannot be conquered because it was stolen.
All right, you got a bunch of stupid platitudes from some liberal moron, but
No,
we're
that's
not deporting Native
the history
excuse
of
me.
this country.
Excuse me. We're not deporting Native American Indians.
Why not? They're criminals.
No, because American Indians are US citizens.
Not American Indians. I'm part Indian.
Oh, of course you are.
Okay.
I know. What Indian tribe are
Yes,
you?
my grandmother was an Indian.
Really? Who's your grandmother? Elizabeth Warren?
Yeah.
All right, enough of this liberal revisionist crap. Oh, my goodness. Oh, boy. That's the left, people. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, man? My name's Ashton, calling from Texas. How you doing?
Ashton in Texas.
Yes, sir.
All
How
right.
you doing?
What's on your mind?
I got a question. I got a couple, right? So the first
Well,
one.
no. Pick your
is
best question. Pick your best question and start with that.
All right. So I'll preference by saying I voted for Trump, right? How do you still kind of support him, right? After kind of the whole, my big thing right now is the whole Epstein debacle, right?
Why'd you vote for
The fact
Trump?
that he
Why
came-
you voted for Trump? Why'd you vote for Trump?
I voted for Trump initially because I thought the first 4 years were relatively well, and I didn't believe Kamala would be a better fit compared to Trump. And I also thought Trump had a little bit more.
Did you vote
at
for
the
President
time.
Trump last time or Kamala Harris?
I voted for Trump last time. I didn't vote for Trump the first term. So I voted for Trump this last term, right? But the whole Epstein thing has really changed my whole perspective on Trump, and especially a lot of stuff now that's going on.
What Trump policies made you vote for him in 2024? You said, "Oh man, I'm voting for Trump because of this, this, and that."
I just believe Trump was better for like business.
Well,
in
give me
America,
a
and I
specific
didn't really
example.
believe
You voted for Donald Trump in the last election because of his policies. Give me the policies you voted for in 2024 of Trump's.
I don't have a specific policy.
Yeah, because
It's
you're a
more like
liar.
the
You
idea
didn't
of
vote for
fair-
Trump. That's why you don't have any. Oh my goodness. Oh boy, oh boy. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name's Dan. I'm out of Ohio.
Dan in Ohio. What's on your mind?
Hey, so oh, hold on. Sorry, I still have your
That's
live
okay.
going. It's coming in 1 second.
Yeah, there's a delay.
So, just based on reports out of September, ICE has detained 71.5% of people without criminal records.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
No, they're all. Listen, all illegals are criminals. There's a 100% crime rate among the illegals. 100%. They're all criminal. They're here illegally. They're criminals.
The idea is that he's not convicting people who don't have violent criminal history.
You don't convict illegals. You deport illegals. You don't convict. It's not like an American that goes out and does a crime. They are 100% criminals. You agree with that? They're all criminals?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. So they all have. Okay. There you go.
He said he's going after people with violent criminal history.
First.
Well, then why is 71.5% of those arrested with lacking a violent criminal history?
I don't know that number's true. But a lot.
No, you can look it up.
I can look it up. I don't need to look it up. All of them are criminals. There's a 100% crime rate among the migrants. They are here illegally. That is a crime.
So it does not matter that they're not violent individuals to you.
No, all crimes are crimes. We have, even for American citizens, if you commit a nonviolent crime, a white collar, like Martha Stewart went to prison. She didn't commit a violent crime, right? She did some insider trading.
If that's the case, then it doesn't matter.
Letitia James in New York is going to prison, right? She got indicted last week. She didn't commit a violent crime. I don't care what you're. No, it's the same thing. Letitia James was indicted last. Excuse me. No, Letitia James was.
Brian, don't change the subject just because.
Excuse me. I'm not changing. I decide what the subjects are. You're the one changing the subject.
I'm not. I've been.
Yeah, this is. I'm the host of the show, and I bring up the topics. You're changing the subject. Letitia James is. I'm going to do this with or without you. You can stay on the phone and be a part of the conversation, or you can keep interrupting me, and I'll hang up.
No.
Okay, then be a gentleman and stop talking for a minute. Letitia James is going to prison for. All right, thank you for. I gave him like 3 times, right? How many times am I going to give him? She's going to prison for a nonviolent crime. You don't just arrest and prosecute violent criminals. There are people that do nonviolent crimes that go to prison too. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah. Good morning, Brian. Good morning.
Hey, Richie. Oh boy.
I listen to this crap, total crap from people calling in. These, first of all, bleeding hearts, liberals. It's an emotional thing. But we're talking about 2 types of people here. We're talking about people that came to this country legally, waited. Some of them waited 10 years, had to go to testing to show that they actually knew something about our country, knew something about our history. But they had to get, some of them had to be sponsored by people because they weren't going to just come here and start collecting welfare checks.
That's right.
And food stamps and cell phones and get flown all over the United States to the city of their choice so they could go to a 5-star hotel and live in it.
Yes.
And that cost everybody big money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So President Trump ran and was elected, and he told everyone before he ran, I am going to get all these people going back. And then if they do the right thing and don't cut in front of the line from other people, we're going to let them back in. And we're not looking for people that are on welfare.
Listen, Richie, you heard the callers. Look, we had this guy with this heavy Mexican accent claiming to be Los Angeles. We had an angry, racist black woman that doesn't like whitey. I mean, you've heard these callers, some dysfunctional perverts, calling. I mean, this is what's left of the left.
Well, here's the deal, folks. For all those, what I'm trying to say is the people that came here illegally, they flew in, they came over the border illegal. This is people that have been in the country maybe 20 years. They knew they came here. They knew they were getting over. They got fake IDs, fake social security numbers, everything fake. And they set up shop here, knowing they were illegal for years. And they were looking over their shoulder, but they weren't actually attacked by ICE. They didn't go out of their way looking for them, although the United States government said to employers, don't hire these people because they got to have proper papers. Yeah. So they fake the papers.
Everybody knows this is all old news, Richie. I mean, this is all old news. Yeah, but here's the deal.
But I want to get to the new part here. 20 million, 10 to 20 million come in here illegally, okay? They come in here totally illegally.
During the last 4 years.
President Trump is very kind to them. He actually going to pay them $1,000 per family or per person, I guess, and fly them back to their home. Yeah, back to their homeland, and then let them apply. But no, these people are acting like the victims here. They're not victims.
That's correct. That's correct.
We're the victims.
That's
As
correct.
taxpayers, we are the victims.
Lincoln Riley's a victim. Lincoln Riley's a victim, and there's many more.
Yeah. What do they expect ICE to do? Are we going to tap? Excuse me. Are you here illegally and not legally?
And this is not a new problem. I've talked many times. I haven't mentioned in a while, but I've mentioned many times on the air. When I was a child, a friend of mine was murdered by illegals here in Florida, in Belgrade, and that was like 1982, 83. You know, I mean, this is not a new thing, and we just haven't had any Republicans that want to do anything about it. All right, Richie, I got to move on, but you can call. You get to call back twice when you call on the pre-show.
Thank you.
All right, only Richie gets the pass. You guys don't get the pass. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to go get some coffee. I'm going to take a quick break and get some coffee. I'll be right back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Frank from West Palm. How you doing here?
All right,
Brian,
Frank.
you were absolutely correct. LaPorta Roofing was amazingly phenomenal. They just completed my roof last week, and LaPorta Roofing was superb in all ways imaginable when installing the new roof on my residence. Tom LaPorta meticulously spearheaded the entire project from inception through to the finalization of the assignment. Tom handled all the paperwork involving city permits, inspectors, and my community HOA. He was always available, ensuring me that he had my back in all phases of the project. Additionally, Tom, Scott, and Dan, and the entire crew were very well organized with the plan, consistent with all policies and procedures, and craftsmanship was exemplary in all stages of the design execution. Tom, Scott, and Dan maintained continual contact with me, the homeowner, asking if there were any questions I had or anything further I needed. LaPorta Roofing is, in every respect, a stellar, 5-star, AAA, family-owned company that is a reliable, peace-of-mind roofing organization. These guys are spot on with regards to perfection, and they demand it. I remain mesmerized upon the completion of the job. My roof is a masterpiece. And one last thing before I forget, they were the least expensive quote that I received out of 4 quotes for roofing. I thank Tom LaPorta Roofing for all that they do.
Wow, Frank. Well, thanks so much. Tom LaPorta at LaPorta Roofing. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. He works with every type of structure, residential, commercial, municipal, and he works with every type of roofing material. Also, don't forget, Tom LaPorta will never sell you a roof you do not need. If you need just a simple repair, he'll do it. He can also handle the job of any size, whether it's a single-family home or an HOA with over 200 units. Give him a call. This number rings directly to Tom LaPorta's cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaPortaRoofing.com. Frank, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Brian. You have a wonderful day.
All right, we're back. I'm heating up some coffee, so I got to go get it in a minute before the radio show starts. But if you, I'll take some more calls before the program begins. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hello.
Yep. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, my name is Cameron. I'm calling in from Florida.
All right. Go ahead, Cameron from Florida. We're both in Florida.
Okay, I love Trump. I have a lot of love for Trump, but the only criticism I have for him is that he doesn't call out the people that's really running everything in America.
Because he's running it.
No, he's not running it.
Oh, who's running it?
Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that Trump? That's why I love him. He will call out anybody.
All right. Well, who's really running the country? You say Trump's not running the country. Who's really running the country?
I'm trying to explain. If you let me
get to it.
talk, I'll explain it to you. So you notice that Trump will call out anybody. He called out Russia. He went to North Korea, called out that dictator. He'll call out anybody but one sect of people in one country. Could you guess what country that is?
Yeah, I can tell you. You're an anti-Semite. Yeah, you're talking. You say it.
No,
I'm not going to say
I'm
it
not
for
an
you. You say it.
anti-Semite.
You say it.
Nope.
You say it.
No, I'm not an anti-Semite.
Who's running the country?
They're
What
not
people?
even from Israel.
What people? What people are you talking about? Say it.
Hold on.
Say it. Why
Those
can't you
people
say
aren't
it?
even from-
What? Don't not
Yeah, I
those
can't-
people.
I can't-
What people? What people are you talking about? Say it.
Hold on. I'm trying to explain.
Say.
I'm
I don't
trying
need to explain. Tell me who you're talking about. What people? Say it.
I'm telling you, the fake people that claim to be from that certain land, those are Eastern Europeans.
Why won't you
Those
say?
are-
Why will you not say the land or the people? You're
Because
dancing around
we
it.
Dealing with, the reason why is because I'm trying not to get your platform.
Nah,
demonetized
nothing's
or
going to get
anything.
nothing. The only thing that's going to happen with you is you're going to bore the audience to death. I can't help that you don't like Jews. Okay, take care.
Israel.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. In fact, the Trump peace deal went against what Israel wanted. Netanyahu did not want this deal. All right, my coffee. I just heard it's done. I'm going to go get my coffee. I'll be right back. Oh boy, I tell you, all these fake MAGA people. You notice they all start the same. Oh, I love Trump. I support Trump. I voted for Trump, but you know you can hear it coming. All right, okay. All right, we got a little bit of time. I'll take one more call before we go live on the radio. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Scott. I'm calling from Kansas City.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, I'd like to get your opinion on something. I listen in on a group of people that most people have not heard of from a long time, but they exist, and that is the followers of Brother John Birch and his society.
No, I'm not interested in talking about the John Birch Society. I've got less than a minute till we're live on the radio, and right before the radio right before the radio show starts, it's part of the format. I don't want to put the audience to sleep, which you'll do if I continue the conversation. All right, take care. Yeah, boy, oh boy, get your own show. You can talk about the John Birch Society to you and your three friends. All right, less than a minute and the radio show will start, so I'm going to have to do a new introduction. And if you're on hold, stand by. We started an hour early today, so if you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. If you're new, my name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk, so stand by. We got 30 seconds. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and you are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio, and a lot is happening, a lot is going on. Welcome. It is Wednesday morning, so we've got past, it's the middle of the week, which is always a good thing. One day closer to Friday. When I got up today, I thought for a second it was Thursday. I guess that was wishful thinking. Okay, a lot has happened, and for those that are just tuning in, I want to recap what I started with an hour ago. President Trump, the things that President Trump is doing each and every day are so amazing. Before Trump came on the scene and came down the escalator, our Republicans were all fake Republicans. They were all rhino fake Republicans. We had primaries, and they'd go out and debate, and then they'd push a candidate on us, and then they'd go out on stage with whatever Democrat they were running against. But they never did anything. Like, you know, you look at the Republican Party platform. One of the biggest things on the Republican Party platform in the past was overturning Roe v. Wade. Trump did it. No other president made a move to do it. In fact, they didn't want to change these things. They didn't want to change these things because these fake Republican rhinos not only are in bed with the Democrats, all they care about is ripping off the government like the Democrats do to make themselves rich. All right? You know, for decades, Republicans have been talking about shutting down the border and doing deportations. It hasn't happened. Okay? It goes on and on and on. In fact, there have even been Republican presidents that gave amnesties to illegals. Ronald Reagan and others had given amnesty to illegals over the years. And President Trump not only does what other Republicans said they would do and didn't do, he does it in ways that none of us would even think of, okay? Right now in this country, there are governors and mayors that are part of an insurrection against the federal government of the United States, right? And according to CNN, MSNBC, the Democrat Party, rhinos, and liberals, an insurrection is simply interrupting government business, right? Well, there are mayors and governors and others that hold office that are not only interrupting government business, they're encouraging violence against federal ICE agents that are carrying out the orders of the President of the United States. And in the past, you know, one of the reasons you have all this defiance from the left, that are the few that are still in power here and there, they're not accustomed to having a Republican who stands up to them to do anything. They're just not. And President Trump not only stands up to them and does these great things, but he does things in a way that you wouldn't even think of. And this one here is pretty amazing. I want to play this clip, and then I'll get into an article about it, and we'll talk about it. This is a beautiful thing. So before the Charlie Kirk Presidential Medal of Freedom ceremony yesterday, President Trump had the president of Argentina in the cabinet room with some of his staff and his staff. And you know how those things, they turn into press events. And President Trump had a little press conference. It was short, but he had a press conference with the fake news media in this meeting with the Argentinian president. And he dropped something, and it's starting to go viral and go into effect. Listen, I'll just play it. It explains itself. This is the president yesterday.
Are you going to work with or try and work with the mayor of Boston? And then they have a World Cup. They have several World Cup games. I know Argentina knows about World Cups. They have several World Cup games. Could those games move to cities that do work with you? Like
we could take them away. I love the people of Boston. I know the games are sold out. But your mayor is not good. They're worse than her. At least she's intelligent. You know, some are extremely low IQ. Those bother me more. She's intelligent, but she's radical left.
Are you?
Yeah, okay. So he's talking about Mayor Wu. Michelle Wu is the racist insurrectionist mayor of Boston. She came on the radar screen a couple years back. She had a Christmas party that, for local elected officials, but it was a BIPOC party, or whatever they call it. White elected officials were not allowed. Only black, indigenous, people of color who were elected to office. She had a racially segregated event, which is illegal in the United States. And she's been defying federal agents, which is interrupting government business, which is, by the Democrats' definition, the liberal fake news definition, is indeed an insurrection. Let me play a few clips. This is Mayor Wu.
In just over 100 days, we have connected unhoused residents at Massachusetts to housing, treatment, and services. We've launched 3 free bus lines. We've taken some big, bold actions But I won't lie, this past winter was pretty intense. Trial by snow, trial by fire, fighters union. I'm getting used to dealing with problems that are expensive, disruptive, and white.
And white. Did you hear that? Yeah. She's a segregationist, racist mayor and defying ICE. Here she is again. Pretty hardcore, isn't it?
We stand with immigrants. You belong.
Now, immigrants, of course, is what she refers to as the illegals.
We stand with immigrants. You belong here. Somos una ciudad de inmigrantes. Boston doesn't back down. We are a city where the Irish coffee is strong and our opinions are stronger. We may not always agree or see eye to eye, but at the end of the day, we are a family. If you come for one of us, you will get all of us.
Okay, now that's a message to ICE. If you come for one of us, you're going to get all of us. So she's announcing her insurrectionist intentions. Here she is again.
I don't know of any police department that routinely wears masks. We know that there are other groups that routinely wear masks. NSC 131 routinely wears masks.
Mayor, just to clarify, are you comparing ICE, you said, to NSC 131, the neo-Nazi group? Are you comparing them to a neo-Nazi group?
What I said is that Boston police and no police department that I know of at the local level routinely wears masks.
Okay, so she's comparing them to Nazis. And what's happened here, President Trump, the World Cup is coming to Boston. This is from ESPN. Let me read this story to you. This is amazing. And by the way, so my question to you is this. Is Mayor Wu a racist? Is Mayor Wu an insurrectionist? And is President Trump, is it the right thing for him to do to not reward this insurrectionist sanctuary city who's interfering with government business, protesting and taking actions against ICE officers, and call up the World Cup committee, which he said he could do, and move the World Cup to another city, a city that's not an insurrectionist city? You know, it's like the Confederate capital here. I'm sure Lincoln didn't allow events to take place in Richmond during the Civil War, right? This is from ESPN. President Donald Trump on Tuesday threatened to relocate World Cup matches set to be played next year in Boston. He suggested Boston had been taken over by recent unrest. The World Cup is set to be played in the same stadium as the Patriots play. It's about 30 miles from Boston. Mayor Wu's office issued a statement after President Trump said that he might call them and move it to another city. Mayor Wu's office issued a statement that read, Boston is honored and excited to host World Cup matches. Yeah, sure, they got all the illegals there. They love soccer. And excited to host World Cup matches, and we look forward to welcoming fans from around the world to our beautiful city, the cradle of liberty and the city of champions. This is what I mean. You know, President Trump is doing things that not only no other conservative ever intended to do, he does it in ways like this that no one ever thought of before. We'll take our first break of the hour. You're welcome to call in. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this at 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. You know, we often talk about, you know, that wet spot on your ceiling. You have a leak in your roof. Let me just tell you quickly how we found Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing, and how that line you hear me so often say, if you have a wet spot on your ceiling, you've got a leak in your roof, you want to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Steve had a wet spot on his ceiling, size of a coin, and of course it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then all of a sudden there were other spots, and he ignored it. Then there were other spots, and more and more and more, and then it was just leaking into buckets scattered throughout his house. And that's when we found Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Steve, because he ignored that wet spot, the leak had gotten so bad that he not only needed a whole new roof, 40% of his drywall was infested with deadly black mold. Now, I'd gone to Steve's house and smelled the mold, but I didn't say anything because I thought it would be rude. And I remember I was talking to Tom Laporta about it, and I was like, couldn't they smell it? And he's like, no, they're so used to it, they didn't even smell it. So because he ignored that first wet spot, 40% of the drywall in Steve's home was infected with deadly black mold that he and his family and children and grandchildren were breathing. So that all had to be replaced. He also had to get a whole new roof. Oh, yeah, I mentioned also that dampness from the leaks in the roof that he ignored and got worse and worse created a breeding ground for termites. So the termites were actually eating his home. So he had to get the termites taken care of, which was another big job. And if when he saw that first wet spot on the ceiling, if he would have called Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing, he very well may have just needed a simple repair. You know, Tom Laporta is a good MAGA guy. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. If you need a simple repair, he will do it. I've talked to multiple listeners who have been shocked to hear from Tom Laporta that they just needed a repair and not a roof. Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing is not just a roofer. He's also a contractor, and under Florida law, he's allowed to deal directly with your insurance company on the cost of the replacement or the repair of your roof. So that speeds things along quite a bit. He also works on residential, commercial, even municipal properties and churches. He does church roofs as well. And he can handle the job of any size, whether it's one office building, a single-family home of any size, large or small, or an HOA that has over 400 units. He can handle it all. Give him a call. This number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone. You can call or text 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602. And online, laportaroofing.com. We'll be right back. All right, we're clear. I'll take a call here during the break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. The rest of you on hold, stand by. Let me get queued up. I got to get a couple things ready for when we get back. Okay, yes. Oh, boy. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Doc from Texas.
Hey, Texas. Oh, hold on. Let me put you on hold. I'm going to take you after the break, all right? So you hold on.
Okay.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name's Tom. I'm calling outside of Colorado. Sorry, I had a few drinks tonight. Colorado Springs. I was wondering if you were, given Trump's recent deployment of the National Guard and whatnot into cities, do you think that has dissuaded these public shootings that happen?
Where were you out drinking tonight?
No, I wasn't out drinking. I had a couple drinks tonight.
By yourself at home?
Well, yeah. Where else am I going to have them?
Pathetic. Sitting at home alone, drinking? Getting drunk alone? That's sad. That's a sad life, man.
Oh, man, I called in to ask you a question and you berate me?
No, I feel sorry for you. I mean, you're a grown man. You're sitting at home at night getting drunk by yourself? That's really sad.
Oh, my gosh.
Don't you have any friends? Don't you have friends? Don't you have a girl?
Well, that's why I called you, Brian.
Really? So no one wants to hang out with you?
You were my friend, pal.
Why don't you have friends or a lady? Why don't you have a girlfriend or some friends to party with? Why do you got to drink alone?
I don't.
Well, you told me. I've asked you twice and you haven't answered, and you told me you were getting drunk last night by yourself.
What do you mean last night? I was having a couple drinks.
It's 6:19. It's 6:19 in the morning. Okay, you got this drunk in an hour by yourself? Oh my goodness!
How drunk do you think I am?
You're tanked.
Have you been drinking?
No. Hey, listen, I gotta run. I can't.
Like you have, because you're a fucking traitor and a fascist loser. Get over.
There you go. Boom, 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 boom. There you go. Yes. All right. If you're on hold, stand by. Welcome back, everyone. My name. Oh no, we got another minute. Hold on. Okay. Nope, we got a little less than a minute. I started to come back early. Oh, my goodness. That's pretty sad. Pretty sad. Oh, my goodness. Pretty sad. Oh, man. I feel bad for that guy. Don't you? Anybody feel bad for that guy? Oh, my goodness. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. If you guys, sometimes the most exciting moments happen during the commercial breaks, don't they? Oh, my goodness. Something happened during the break that was just amazing. Well, if you watch me on YouTube, you can see what happens during the breaks. And you missed a doozy. If you're on hold, stand by. We're waiting for the delay to engage, so got to wait for that. But we'll go back to the phones in just a bit. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. I was calling to, in the last segment, I was talking about this great move that President Trump has made against insurrection. He's making moves against all these insurrectionist mayors around the country. And a lot of people, let me pull up some. I wasn't going to play this now, but I'm going to play this for you now. President Trump, he sent the military and the feds into Memphis a couple weeks ago, and we haven't heard much about it. Here is a woman talking about what's happened in Memphis since President Trump sent in the National Guard and the feds. Listen.
I swear, the National Guard, there's literally people saying in Chicago, in Memphis, which I have family in both places, I feel more safe now. My kids can go out front and play. I can walk down the street to the store and not worry about if I'm actually going to make it home.
Yeah. So Memphis, we're not getting any report. When he first sent the feds and the National Guard into Memphis, it got a lot of publicity, but we've heard nothing about it. And we've heard from, if you follow people on X, there are people all over X who are reporting on Memphis, but the mainstream media aren't. I haven't played more of it than this one because it's locals and they interview them and they use language that you just can't use if you're white, if you know what I mean by that. But the crime in Memphis has been cleaned up. President Trump has rid a second American city of crime like he did D.C.
And people will still be like, no, this is terrible. Take the National Guard out, blah, blah, blah. And you guys are totally discounting real people's experience that live in the place. You guys are watching CNN. You guys are watching fake news, other biased media, and you're not listening to the people that are actually affected by it front line.
Yeah. So crime has been wiped out in Memphis, which was a very high crime city. This is spectacular. And of course, because it makes Trump's plans, it shows that they're working. They don't want you to know about it. And Memphis is another majority-minority city. By the way, when you hear me oftentimes say majority-minority, that's a liberal term. Liberals use that all the time for things, majority-minority. It's liberal speak. But Memphis is a high-crime area like D.C., high-crime city like D.C. was, like Chicago is, like Portland is. He sent the feds in. He sent the National Guard in. Boom. Multiple reports from locals on the ground in the city telling us that crime in the city has been wiped out. I haven't seen a single television news story about it. Not a single one. And, it's likely to stay that way because they don't want people to know how well things are going for President Trump's agenda and his plans. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. All right. Our number is toll free 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. I don't know why everyone's not in annuities. You hear me talk with Joe about this a lot. I've heard about annuities my entire adult life, and I'd hear guys on the radio talking about annuities, but I never heard them explain what they are. And when I first met with Joe Thomas, he explained them to me, and in less than 5 minutes, I said, why isn't everybody in this? Right? With an annuity, your money's not at risk. No matter what happens in the stock market, your nest egg, your investment is never going to go down. That's amazing. And you're guaranteed an income stream for the rest of your life. That is absolutely amazing. Another thing I learned, you can pass annuities down to your children, to your grandchildren, of course, to your spouse. And there's so many different types of annuities. There's annuities. One of my favorite annuities that Joe Thomas told me about is the one that's referred to as the income doubler. That if you have a health condition, and he can explain how this works to you in more detail, your monthly income is doubled. And by the way, that goes for you or your spouse. You're both on the annuity. And, as you grow older in your retirement years is when health things spring up, and health issues are what, start getting very expensive. And when you're on that fixed income, that income doubler could save you. So, but there's many other types of annuities that do all kinds of other things. And Joe Thomas offers no charge consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you are in the United States. You can take advantage of it if you're local. You want to go meet Joe Thomas in his office, you can do that. It's a free consultation in his office. You can do it on the phone, or you can do it on Zoom. And this no charge consultation, the value of this is absolutely amazing. Now, Joe Thomas has been a financial advisor dealing with clients in their retirement for over 30 years. So he has a lot of experience. But he's also a 5-time qualifying member of the $1 Million Roundtable, which is achieved by fewer than 1% of all financial advisors in the world. So he's a top man in the industry, and he's offering you a free consultation. Give him a call and set that up. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website. It's right there, jupiterjoe.com. All right, so welcome back. I'm Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. So what I was talking about in the first couple of segments of the program is, what President Trump is doing in regards to the World Cup. And if you're just tuning in, let me share the statement. This was in the White House yesterday.
Are you going to work with or try and work with the mayor of Boston? And then they have a World Cup. They have several World Cup games. I know Argentina knows about World Cups. They have several World Cup games. Could those games move to cities that do work with you?
We could take them away. I love the people of Boston. I know the games are sold out. But your mayor is not good. There are worse than her. At least she's intelligent. Some are extremely low IQ. Those bother me more. She's intelligent, but she's radical left.
This is amazing. Because Boston is a sanctuary city and Mayor Wu is opposing ICE, turning people against ICE, organizing against ICE, is he doing the right thing? If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. All right, let me take this call during the break. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Doc from Texas.
What's up, Texas?
Hey, man, you doing all right this morning?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, quick question. I don't know this, but I'm going to ask you this. Can Trump sign an executive order to open up the government?
No. The federal government's budget is controlled by Congress.
Okay. I was just curious about that because I was wondering why he just don't do that. and say, okay, now it's open. Now y'all.
But what he has done, I was talking yesterday how he used the tariff money to pay for WIC so that low-income mothers can buy, get their WIC benefits for the baby formula to feed their babies. And then he also, the troops, the military has gotten paid using money that the Pentagon has stashed away. So the military have gotten paid.
I heard Pete Hegseth really couldn't do that without Congress approval.
President Trump just did it. Let the Democrats come out and argue that you can't pay the military. I'd love that. That'd be great.
They're not going to do that because it doesn't look good.
Oh,
so anyway, they shouldn't do it.
You never know.
They shouldn't do it. They shouldn't do it.
You never know.
They shouldn't do it.
They want to do
My
it.
thing about it is, I'm getting sick and tired of both parties, both leaders in both parties. That they need to really sit down and get this hashed out and stop getting on TV every day. Everybody, Mike Johnson gets up there talking.
It has
trash.
nothing to do with Johnson. It's in the Senate.
Yes, it does.
The Senate had the Senate took a vote last night. Fetterman didn't even show up.
Brian, he can say, okay, let's get together. And both leaders of both parties can get together and say, let's figure this out.
Yeah, they can give health insurance to 25 million illegals. That's what they want. 25 million illegals.
You know what they're not doing it. You know they're not doing that.
That's
so
what the Democrats want. That's why
you know it's not true. It's not true, and I'm not going to argue with you about it.
I know. I don't blame you. You're in denial.
Okay, well, you have a good day, man.
Yeah, he's in total denial. Yeah, Fetterman didn't even show up to the vote. Okay, this is a radio station break. We'll be back shortly. All right. We got just over a minute. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. And those of you that are just joining, I started today at 5 a.m. So I told you I added another hour. I just did the full hour early instead of going late today. So, and I kind of like it. I do. I like coming on early. And I guess this is the third month that I've been doing it, second or third month. I started in September, and I didn't make a big deal about it because I wasn't sure I'd be able to maintain it. So I started last month. I did it every show last month. So this is the beginning of we're in the middle of the third month of the expanded show. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me. All right, got about 30 seconds, and we will be back. Okay. Stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Our number is toll-free 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Did you guys catch the Presidential Medal of Freedom ceremony with the president yesterday for Charlie Kirk? Oh, my goodness. Not a dry eye in the house. His wife came out. She gave that speech. It was so sad. The White House feed, I carried that event on my YouTube channel. And it was emotional. And then the White House cut the feed, and I guess they thought the president was going to go back into the Oval Office, but he didn't do that right away. He went out and went up to Charlie Kirk's parents. And I saw some of that footage. Oh, man. I mean, the parents they don't even look functional. They are so devastated. We're over a month out. I mean, I can understand. That's something you would never get over. Well, I can't understand it. I don't want to understand it. But you could see it. I mean, it was... Remember Trump talked about the first time that he went to the Air Force Base when the fallen soldiers flew in and he was with the families? And the general said that when they land and they start bringing out the caskets, you're going to see something you've never seen before. I saw that with Charlie Kirk's parents yesterday. I mean, that was just god awful what these never Trumpers and Democrats have done. And you saw Charlie Kirk's wife give that very emotional speech. And I didn't realize his son was only 16 months old. So his son will never know him except through, Instagram Reels and TikTok, which is a pretty good way to know him. But, you know, the way the left have responded in the aftermath of the assassination of Charlie Kirk has not gotten any better. Still calling everyone fascist, still defying, still organizing violence and all these things. They've not toned down the rhetoric at all. And they've gone so far, quite frankly, as to blame Charlie Kirk for his own assassination. There's been zero coverage on this Democrat assassin since really the arrest. He came in for a court appearance a couple weeks ago, but they're not interested in that. You know, there's all this talk that he came from a MAGA family. If his family were MAGA, like your family or my family, believe me, the media would be covering it because they'd want to blame MAGA. But so far as the Presidential Medal of Freedom, I want to ask you this question because I was thinking about this at the time yesterday, and I thought about it this morning, and I don't have an answer to this. We have two Republican martyrs in American history now, right? Charlie Kirk, a political martyr, and perhaps a Christian martyr too, because he was killed by this gay Democrat who was involved in this trans relationship. So a lot of Charlie Kirk's positions on trans issues were, of course, based on his Christianity. But he's a conservative martyr. And the other Republican martyr we have is Abraham Lincoln. And both Abraham Lincoln and Charlie Kirk were assassinated and became Republican martyrs. They were both assassinated by Democrats who were trying to stop what they were doing, which was changing the country, right? The Democrats killed Lincoln because he had freed the slaves and everything. And, of course, turning the youth Republican, red-pilling them, magnetizing them is what Charlie Kirk was doing. And they assassinated Charlie Kirk because he was freeing young people from the Democrat plantation, too. And it's very important to honor Charlie Kirk, to the Presidential Medal of Freedom. There's a street in Florida up near Orlando already named after Charlie Kirk. Senator Rick Scott, who was the governor of Florida before Ron DeSantis, he was an incredible governor. He did more to get this state prepared for hurricanes than anyone ever. I mean, he was an amazing. He's introduced legislation in the Senate to rename a street in Washington, D.C. after Charlie Kirk. And there's a lot of things like this going on. And it's important to do this while it's on everyone's mind so that they get done. And it needs to be talked about why the Democrats killed him. But do you know of any other Republican martyrs? I don't. And we don't have in the Republican movement. See, this is the sad thing. American history is written by liberal college professors. The historians are all liberal, right? Like this Ken Burns has this new PBS documentary coming out about the American Revolution. I'm going to watch it. I've seen all the Ken Burns documentaries except the one on baseball because I'm not interested in that. And his documentaries are really, really good. But this is his first documentary like this in the Trump era. And I'm expecting, now I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but I'm expecting liberal Ken Burns to have something in one part of his documentary. Maybe I could be very wrong about this. I haven't seen it. But I'm expecting Ken Burns to, it might just be a sentence buried on one night of the documentary. But there's going to be something said about immigrants helping General Washington win the American Revolution. I just see that because he's such a liberal jerk, Ken Burns. But because history is written by liberals, literally Democrat liberal college professors, there's not a lot of glowing things written about Republicans throughout history. And that's why it's so important to document this. You know, I've talked to callers about this from time to time. January 6th. You know, when January 6th happened, I said immediately, I told you guys, I said, you know, we in the MAGA movement, we're going to have to explain January 6th for the rest of our lives because the media have established this false story of January. Now, that, by the way, this is not a signal to call in. We're not going to talk about January 6th. I'm talking about how history is written. The media it has created this narrative of January 6th that is going to become written about in the history books. It probably already is. So that's what's going to be taught. So memorializing Charlie Kirk and getting the true story of what Charlie Kirk was doing and why the Democrats assassinated him is very, very important, so that the media record, even in the days before modern media, if you go back in time, newspapers were gunfight at the OK Corral. As this is a great example, gunfight at the OK Corral. Almost everything known in history, true and false and legendary, that's made up stuff about the gunfight at the OK Corral came from newspaper articles. Most of the history of the Old West came from news publications of the day. Well, now we have the modern news, and they establish, so it's important to talk about it and get it out so that the historical record about Charlie Kirk is firmly done and written and ingrained, and they can't cover it up. That's why it's important to do these things now. Name as many things after Charlie Kirk as we can. Now, they're going to point to things, well, his position on this was that, and he wasn't perfect. Charlie Kirk's assassination was unlike any. There have been assassinations and such seen on television, but never this graphically. Never in real time and 4K in high definition. Right? President Trump's too. Even President Kennedy, people didn't see the footage right away because they didn't have the ability to do that. Things were still done on film that had to be developed and processed. And even then, it was grainy and hard to see. President Trump and Butler and Charlie Kirk in particular, because, sadly, the assassin assassinated him, killed him. We saw it, and everybody saw it. Millions and millions and millions of people saw it. And that's one of the reasons I think this one has affected somebody that's not an elected official. It's had such an impact because we saw it, and we need to talk about why they assassinated him. I got a call on my podcast. If you guys do not listen to my podcast, you really should. I got a call from a transgendered guy who's MAGA yesterday, who's been transgender since the 80s, talking about the trans movement of today and the trans connection to the Charlie Kirk assassination. It was a fantastic call. I've never had a conversation so reasonable with a transgender person, and he's appalled by what's going on in this country with the current crop of transgender people. So you guys should, the Brian Craig Show podcast on all podcast platforms. Just search for The Brian Craig Show and on my YouTube channel. But we've got to get the true story of Charlie Kirk in the history books. And the way you do that is to flood the media while it's still a happening event with the true story of what has happened. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. Do you or someone you know suffer from neuropathy? Then you want to call Lighthouse Medical. Steve Kane, we talk about how we find our sponsors. If you hear a commercial on the program that I do or Steve does, one or both of us use their services, right? These are, and a lot of times, I was talking about Tom Laporta earlier with Steve's Roof. Out of necessity, we'll find people. Same goes with Lighthouse Medical and neuropathy. Steve had neuropathy so bad he couldn't get out of bed. We had one of our cruises come up. This was like 3 or 4 cruises ago. And we had a cruise coming up. He's like, I can't get out of bed. I don't think I'm going to go. We had an appearance coming up. That one at the mall where they kicked us out, had to call the police on us. Remember that? Some of you guys were there. Conservative Doug was there. And we found Lighthouse Medical. Steve went over there before they were a sponsor on the program and had the treatment. He had neuropathy so bad he couldn't get out of bed. He saw relief the next day. And here we are over 3 years later. They relieved him of all of his neuropathy symptoms. And over 3 years later, they have not returned. They have a treatment for neuropathy at Lighthouse Medical. They have a treatment that works and a treatment that lasts. We're over 3 years out. It's amazing. They can help you no matter where you're located in the United States in this era of telemedicine. So give them a call. Make sure you mention you heard them on the Steve Kane Show, because then you get the no-charge consultation. 754 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. Callers on hold, you stand by. I'm Brian Craig. We'll be right back. All right, I will go to the calls after the break, okay? So guys on hold, you hang in there, and we'll be back shortly, okay? Stand by, guys. We'll be back shortly. I'll go to the calls after the break. All right, we'll be back shortly, guys, and I'm going to go to the phones. We'll be back in less than a minute. Okay, there's one opening on the board at 888-465-2631. Now, you guys, I came on full hour early today. I came on at 5 a.m., which I kind of like that. I don't know. I'm a morning person. And you guys were there, so thanks for joining me early. I appreciate it. So, actually, we're going to be starting the third hour here. So, all right, stand by. Welcome back, everyone. Let's go to our phones. There's one opening on the board at 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how you doing? This is Jeff.
Jim, where are you calling from, Jim? Jim from where?
I'm calling from Florida.
Jim from Florida. What's on your mind, Jim from Florida?
No, it's Jeff.
Oh, Jeff, I'm sorry. What's on your mind, Jeff from Florida?
Well, you were talking about Trump at the presidential award for Charlie Kirk yesterday. I just wanted, did you catch when Erica Kirk corrected him about when Trump said that Charlie hated his enemies? And she said that, and she came up there and she corrected Trump. And I was just wondering if you caught that.
No, I didn't catch that because that's not what happened. And, obviously a liberally impaired fool like you would see it that way. Yeah, but when you saw it, you didn't hear it with your ears, though, because that's not what happened.
Yes. What did he say? He goes, Charlie hated his enemies. And she got up there and she goes, no. She goes, Charlie did not hate
I tell you,
Oh my God.
liberalism.
Wow,
I want to tell you what happened. Wow, dude. Yeah, let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what happened on this sad excuse for a phone that sounds like you're in an aluminum can. Okay. President Trump did make a comment about not wishing good for his enemies a few days back. She said yesterday, that was not yesterday, Erica Kirk, while she was eulogizing the late, great Charlie Kirk that you hate like the plague, she said that he prayed for his enemies. And then President Trump made a funny, that was called a little bit of sarcasm and humor in a very difficult moment, but because you are liberally perverted in your thinking, you have no sense of humor. You have no sense of humor.
Let me ask you something. Brian, let me ask you something. Are you trying to start a civil war? Is that what you wish for?
I don't understand. All I have are words. I don't know why you think words are see, this is the problem. See, this is why you liberals killed Charlie Kirk. You think words are weapons. Words are not weapons. Words are not weapons. Words are not weapons.
Well, you use them as weapons when you say...
No, they're not. Words are not weapons. Words are, excuse me, listen. Do you remember, okay, do you remember there was an old little thing that we used to say, I'm sure you said this when you were in school. Remember this? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Now all of a sudden you think words are sticks and stones. What's the matter with you?
Well, but why are you when you come on
disagreeing with some mental defect like you is just a verbal debate we're having, and you're hearing things that aren't even happening.
Not a verbal debate. It is not a verbal debate we're having because all you do is hurl insults.
You listen. That? You called me. I don't call you. And you've called me before.
Exactly.
You know what I'm all about. You know what I'm all about.
I know. So you find it that it's okay to insult people, but when somebody insults the Republicans, you people turn into snowflakes. How's that? Like you are a big snowflake. You can't handle it.
No, you said something that was untrue about a grieving widow and the greatest president ever, and I told you what really happened.
What did I say?
You said that she reprimanded the president. She didn't reprimand. It was a little moment of sarcasm.
She mocked him.
No, she didn't.
She mocked him.
Nope.
She did too. She basically told him that no, Charlie did not hate his enemy. Charlie did not hate his enemy.
The other day, President Trump had his physical the other day, and the doctors had an interesting finding. They said that President Trump's physical age is 14 years younger than his numerical age. That's what the doctors at Walter Reed said. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I don't know how old you are, but I would say that your mental age is about 56 years younger than your physical numerical age because you think about things and talk like a child. You talk like a teenage boy that never grew up. You're in arrested development. Really? Oh, I guess I touched a nerve. I guess you've heard that before from someone.
No.
Yeah, touched a nerve.
No.
Hey, listen, take care. Have a good day. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right. Once, twice. All right. You missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian, am I coming in okay?
Indeed you are. I can hear you fine.
Yep.
Yes.
Hey,
hold on a
Brother
second. Let me answer these other lines. Hold on. All right, go ahead, IB.
Hey, I'm glad you finally put the nail in that guy's coffin when he said arrested development, because I'm thinking my brother has this phrase, small things. You're focusing on small things, all these things in life and what's going on in our country. And I'm glad you put the nail in that last caller's coffin. I called in because I want people to go back to your podcast yesterday. It was bad A. And
It was
I
good.
was totally moved by the transgender guy. I was totally blown away by that guy.
That was
And
let me tell you, that was one of the best calls I've ever. In the after, I host my podcast in the afternoons on my YouTube channel live, and I take calls like I'm doing now so you guys should follow me on YouTube, and you can catch the afternoon show live, or go to your podcast platforms and search for the Brian Craig Show, and you can catch that. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I'm on all of them. I'm even on audiobooks. If you go to Audible. The Brian Craig Show podcast is even on Audible. So wherever there's podcasts, you can catch my podcast. But the guy is transgender. He became transgender like in the 80s or 90s, and he is just appalled by what's happened with. He's afraid to talk publicly because he's afraid of the trans activist.
Yeah, he's saying there's a niche within the transgender community. There's a small little sector that is appalled by what these other people are doing, putting writings on bullets in bullet cases, and what they're doing. But what baffled me about him is like, you're so reasonable and rational.
Exactly.
I'm like, well, why do you want a transgender? I was confused, but at the same time, I was kind of giving a little clap. I was a little applauding while I was listening to it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And Dart from Texas. I'm sorry that your wife died from the breast cancer. He used to be in Louisiana, and now he's in Texas. So he says, and I believe him. But he's never going to agree with anything that you says, because I listen to the show so intently. He used to say, no matter what, I'm going to vote Democrat all the way down the line.
Yeah.
All the way down the line.
Yeah.
So you can't move that guy. He's just like a big boulder. Last night, Trump, Mrs. Erica Kirk's speech was amazing. Watching Trump like a grandfather standing behind her.
Yeah.
She will never want for anything. Bye. I'm going to get emotional.
You okay?
I'm gone.
You all right, IB?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
It's terrible.
It is terrible what they
It's terrible. I mean, those little kids. Oh my goodness.
do. Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't mean to choke up, but
That's
wow,
okay.
man.
That's okay.
Just watching Trump stand behind her as a father figure.
It was amazing.
But she will never want. She will always be taken care of, and so will those kids.
That's right. All right, IB. Take care. Take care of yourself. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. Yeah, I agree. It was very emotional. I was tearing up watching that yesterday. Were you? I want to talk about Dr. Appleton and his robotic laser away pain treatment. The thing about the robotic laser, I want to tell you a couple quick things about it. One, what it does, this is not just some stationary laser. It's a robotic laser. So what do I mean by that? It's this. The laser actually moves around the part of your body that's being treated. As the example I use is the knee, because this is, because Dr. Appleton, he explained to me how the laser worked with my knee. The pain was coming from the top of my knee, but the laser actually treated the whole area, the top, both sides, the behind of the knee. The whole area was treated. And what the laser treatment does is actually repairs the damage that's causing you the pain. Give Dr. Appleton a call. Not only are appointments not necessary and walk-ins are welcome, the consultation with Dr. Appleton is free, even if you're walking in off the street, even on Saturdays. Take advantage of that no-charge consultation and say bye-bye to your pain like I've done 7 times. Dr. Appleton's website is AppletonCairo.com, AppletonCairo.com. You can give him a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Give them a call and say bye-bye to your pain. And online, again, AppletonCairo.com. All right, we'll be back for the next hour. Call us on hold. Stand by. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show. Back after this. Oh, boy. IB got emotional there. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay, show that.
For you.
No, I just came across this. I don't know if this is worthy of playing on the air or not. Let me pull this up. It's an interview I just saw on X with This is President Trump's mother. Let me play this. See if I should play this on the air.
Where were you born? In a little town called Stornoway, at the island of Lewis, way up in the Hebrides.
Oh, yes. I'm going to play that when we get back. For a very good reason. If you're on hold, stand by. And I know why I'm going to play it too. So, all right, we'll be back in 1 minute. I'm going to play this when we get back, and then I got a question for you guys. Less than a minute, we'll be back. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. If you're on hold, stand by. I got two things I want to throw out. One, I want to ask you all a question, because I was looking for this, and I could not find it. And I thought it would be on their website, but I couldn't find it on the website. I was looking, is there any place that any of you know of that have Rush Limbaugh's radio shows archived? I'm not talking about a random show. They had all of his radio shows because they used to do the best of and all that stuff. Is there any website or platform that you know of that have the old Rush Limbaugh shows archived? And I'll tell you what I was thinking of doing, because he was so great, and I miss Rush. I'm thinking about I was thinking about getting an iPod. I know, right? Who gets an iPod these days? And I was thinking, wouldn't it be so cool to have an iPod that was filled with all the old Rush Limbaugh shows? He was so good. You hear me quoting him all the time. And I couldn't find a place where all his old shows are archived. And I'm surprised, because I thought when I went to his website, I saw a couple of shows on his website, but I thought that they would have like some kind of paid membership where you could get all the old shows, and I didn't see that. So if anybody knows where all the old archived Rush Limbaugh shows are, and if they're available, call me. I'm really looking for that. Okay, before I go back to the phones, I just came across this during the break on X, and I'm going to play this for a very particular reason. I'm not going to tell you why until the end. I haven't even listened to all of it. I just heard the beginning of it. I've never seen this. If I've seen this, I've forgotten. This is a very old television interview of President Trump's mother, Mrs. Trump, Mama Trump. This is President Trump's mother, and I've only listened to the first couple of seconds of this, But there's something I want to talk about involving this interview. But listen to President Trump's mother very carefully here.
Where were you born?
In a little town called Stornoway, at the island of Lewis, way up in the Hebrides. Way up in the Hebrides. Yeah. Beautiful little island.
And did you live there for most of your life?
Oh, yes, I lived there. I grew up there. Came to New York, met my husband.
Yeah.
Went back to Scotland and came back to New York to get married.
Poor Donald can't be with us because he's over in Hollywood, over in Los Angeles,
Donald,
isn't
he got a call from Steven Spielberg.
Oh.
Could he come and make a cameo in some movie that Spielberg is doing? And of course, Donald didn't want to say no.
Well, we can understand that. It's slightly more important than the BB show, Frank, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tell us about your lovely family, Mrs. Trump. And we know that sadly you lost a son recently.
We lost a son. Our oldest son we lost. He was 41.
Wow. I mean, okay. That's the first time I've seen that clip, and I'm assuming, is that an interview in Scotland? She's got a heavy accent, that Scottish accent. She sounds kind of, I don't know, she sounds like a leprechaun kind of accent. I don't know what you would describe that accent. And she talked about how not only did she grow up in Scotland, after she met the president's father, she went back to Scotland. Here she is in Scotland. All of you people, and let me tell you why I share this. President Trump is a first-generation American. Not only is President Trump a first-generation American, but all of his children except Tiffany are first-generation Americans as well, because President Trump's mother is from Europe, and all of Trump's children's mothers, except Tiffany, they're from Europe too. And they all have accents. Heavy accents. But all of the Trump children, including the president himself, are 100% American. Not just, I don't mean just in their citizenship. I'm talking about in their mind, in their heart, in their way of life, in their way of thinking. They're Americans. First generation. See, this is how it used to be. You know, I got a call today from a guy that had the heaviest Mexican accent you could imagine, telling me he was born and raised in L.A. And maybe he was. But you know, I've had many calls from people calling me from L.A. over the last couple of years. They all have this Mexican accent that they call an L.A. accent. The accent's changed. Donald Trump doesn't have an accent like that. Barron, now I did see a video of Barron with the president when he was a little boy. He was first talking, and he had an accent, but he doesn't have that accent anymore. They made sure that he didn't have that accent, probably. President Trump's older children, they all have American accents. Because in the old days, you came here, you married, you had a kid, and they were Americans, and you wanted them to be Americans. You wanted them to think, talk, and sound like an American because they were an American. Now what happens, you get people who come here from other countries, like Ilhan Omar that was talking the other day about wanting to bring Somalian values to America. I don't even know what that is. Anarchy? What's a Somalian value? Seems like the only value they have is to get the hell out of there. Right? I'm talking, and you talk to, oh, well, we're all immigrants. You don't hear her talking that way. President Trump's mother. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. So all of you liberals, all of you Trump derangement syndrome suffering lunatics who think that the president hates immigrants, listen to his mother. I'll rewind it now that I've said all that. She's hard to understand.
Where were you born?
In a little town called Stornoway, at the island of Lewis, way up in the Hebrides. Way up in the Hebrides. Yeah. Beautiful little island.
And did you live there for most of your life?
Oh, yes, I lived there. I grew up there.
Wow. They're amazing. Mary Trump is her name. I call her Mama Trump, but Mary Trump. And, you know, not that Mary Trump. This is the OC Mary Trump, the original. Okay. All right, let's go to the phones. How can you say this guy hates immigrants? Listen to his mother. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
First talking.
You're on the air.
He had
Once, twice.
I'm on the air?
Yes.
Brian.
Yes.
This is Captain White.
Okay.
So, what I wanted to say is I am very much in California and just wondering, how do you feel about everything that's going on with the governor? Because I feel that the governor needs to be out of office and somebody else needs to be in his place doing things.
Well, he will be soon, right? He's not. He can't. Is he term limited, Gavin Newsome? Because I don't hear anything about him running for governor again. So he'll be on his way out, and he'll spend the rest of his days on MSNBC or CNN talking about liberal garbage.
Well, that is good, because we are struggling over here, man. There's all kinds of laws, and nobody cares about any.
Yes, I know. I do. I know. He's on his way out, but that's not what we're talking about today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hey, Brian. It's Mike from Houston. How are you?
Hey, Mike. What's up?
Hey, yeah, I just want to call in and say God bless you to Ivy. I was listening to you guys while I was out biking earlier this morning, and you could feel the sympathy and compassion here that Ivy has for Charlie Kirk's widow and
I want to tell people, not that it's the
children
IB's reaction, I think, is how a lot of people were watching that yesterday.
Yeah, and I will say, Ivy to me really kind of typifies the average conservative. You know, we have a heart, we care, we have empathy, we have sympathy, as opposed to the lunatics of the left, and like the guy that called in right before Ivy. That was a night and day comparison in just everything that differentiates the left from the right. So yeah, I just wanted to say, Ivy, you're a great human being, and I just wish there were more, people like you in the planet.
Oh yeah, I mean,
anyway,
you heard the liberal. He watched it, and all he could think about was taking a jab at Trump watching that. He wasn't emotionally impacted at all. The difference, huh?
Yeah, and I'm going to have to go back and watch that, literally cell by cell and see what exactly was said. But to zero in on something like that wasn't even if it did happen the way he said, and I don't believe it did. It's weird. These people have dog whistles.
Yes.
They hear offensive.
It's called hallucinations. They have hallucinations, is what it is.
How can we? This is what just blows me away. Is like these people drive cars, they fly airplanes.
That's right.
And it's like, how can they be so divorced from reality?
You see them sometimes on planes, those viral videos where they're freaking out on the plane. You see them a lot. There's these Trump. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I want to say.
All right, appreciate the call. Appreciate the call.
Oh, by the way, I also want to say, love your new hours.
Oh, you do great. Yeah, I started the show at 5 a.m. today. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's good to hear.
Thank
okay.
you.
All right. Good. If you're on hold, say bye. Patrick from Colorado, who goes on our cruises, he just sent me the podcast link to Rush Limbaugh on Apple Podcast, and I will listen to this. But there's just one, and I appreciate Patrick for sending this. And he has, Patrick goes on all our cruises. He's got my cell phone number, so he texted me, and that's cool. I'll listen to these. But I just noticed there's short segments. They're 12 minutes, 27 minutes. 8 minutes, 15 minutes, 6 minutes, some of them 2 minutes and 25 seconds. What I'd like to be able to get like the whole shows, right? Like the whole 3-hour show somewhere. You know what I mean? And I can't find that anywhere. I didn't know about that either, so I appreciate it, Patrick. I did not know those were on Apple Podcasts. So I'd like to find the whole episodes. All right, let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Adam. How you doing this morning?
All right. Oh, you know what, Adam? I looked at the. I got a break. I'm late for the break. I'll get back to you after the break. All right. All right. Hold on. Appreciate that. I'm sorry. I got to take the breaks on time, guys. It gets me into trouble. I'm wearing a shirt today that I've had for a while. It's a red Hawaiian shirt, and a lot of you guys make fun of my Hawaiian shirts. I like them. I'm in Florida. Life's a vacation. And I like to have bright shirts, so when I'm on my MAGA scooter, my Vespa, people notice me, all right? Between the Vespa and my shirts, they'll notice me a mile away. But this shirt, this is an amazing shirt, thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I was telling you guys yesterday, I went through my entire closet. I took out every shirt out of my closet yesterday, or day before yesterday. I was telling you about it yesterday. And my wife and I, we went through and got rid of all my old shirts that don't fit me anymore. And this is a shirt that just a few months ago didn't fit me. It was small. It was too small when I got it. And it was so tight. This shirt was like wearing a girdle if I tried to wear it a few months ago. And now that my stomach is flat, I've lost over 35 pounds. My stomach is flat. It fits like a shirt's supposed to fit. I don't know what size this shirt is, but I'm going to take a picture of the size on my cell phone because this is the perfect fit. This shirt was so tight on me before. My results with Coastal Weight Loss Secret are typical. They are not unusual. Now, you know, I could have lost weight faster if I would have exercised. Did no exercise. But I lost about a pound a day, and that was fine with me. And it worked out well because I didn't have any lifestyle changes. So since I didn't have these huge lifestyle changes like working out a few times a week, maintaining the weight loss has been totally effortless. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret and schedule your free consultation. They can help you no matter where you are in the United States, by the way. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. We'll be right back. Yeah, these are good, but some of them are just, there's 1,300 podcasts here. 6 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes, 2 minutes, 25 seconds, 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 13 minutes. They're not the whole show. They're like segments. And they're on good topics, like this one here, December 13th, 2021. It took only 5 minutes for Democrats to politicize the Oklahoma tornado. That's one. Yeah. So these are good, and I'll definitely listen to them. November 5th, 2021. The Mueller report is based on lies. I'm going to definitely listen to these. I will definitely be listening to these. But does anyone know where I can get the full episodes? Maybe the full episodes are not available. I don't know. I wonder who owns them. Okay. We'll be back in a couple minutes. If you're on hold, stand by, guys. All right. Yeah, I've never really heard the president's mother speak like that. Have you? No, I didn't realize how heavy her accent was. All right. We'll be back in 1 minute, and I'm going to go back to that guy that held over. Yeah, I like coming on at 5 a.m. I've been coming on like at 5:20, between 5:20 and 5:30, but I kind of like coming on at 5 a.m. I mean, I didn't have to go out and get coffee this morning, so if I go out and get coffee, I can get on like 20 after. But if I don't go out and get coffee, 5 a.m. is easy. All right, 30 seconds. We'll be back. Welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show. All right, thanks for holding through the break. What's your name again? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. This is Richie.
Oh, hey, Richie.
Brian,
Oh, you're not the guy I was talking to. I got the lines. All right, Richie, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to make a comment. I want to make a comment about President Trump's mother with the accent. I can remember when I was 11 years old. My grandmother passed out when I was 11.
Yeah.
So I knew she came from Czechoslovakia and broken English so bad. And she used to call my mother Anna, and my mother's name was Ann. And my mother had no accent and was proud to be first generation American.
Yeah.
And you know what? Really, I start to pinch myself when I start to see an invasion when out in Los Angeles, when you have ICE trying to find illegal people that are in here illegally. You see more Mexican flags than you see American flags.
Well, see, what's happened here,
See,
this is what's happened, okay? They've been colonizing our country. They're not immigrants. President Trump's mother, Mary Trump, that I played the interview, she was an immigrant. What we're dealing with now are colonizers. And it's so interesting because the liberals are telling us that colonizing is bad, and here we are being colonized.
Exactly, 100%. I mean, to sit there and see more Mexican flags flying in Los Angeles than American flags makes me sick. Just to go to a baseball game at Shea Stadium, during our national anthem, you see gay pride flag on their big Videotron. I mean, it to the point where and then you see Palestinian flags all over the place instead of American flags.
Like your grandmother's from Czechoslovakia. You're as Czechoslovakian as I am. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, this is ridiculous what's going on here. Exactly.
My mother was American. My father's family was from Germany.
Well, that's how it used to be. Now we're here, we're taking over, and we're going to turn Minnesota into Somalia.
Exactly right. That's the big problem, that the immigration here has gotten so out of control that major countries have unloaded everybody.
But it's not listen, it's not immigration, it is colonization, like when the Europeans came to the New World. Right, originally. All right, I appreciate it. It is an invasion and a colonization. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Adam from New York.
Hey, Adam.
Hey. I just want to be quick and brief. There's some YouTubers out there. They found information about that guy that asked Charlie Kirk I
don't want to hear that. I don't need to hear that from you now. I'll look that up on my own.
Okay, okay. I understand. I appreciate if you check on that. Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. I'll look it up. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
You know, yesterday I was so surprised. 2 Democrats I know came over to me and said, I got to tell you, President Trump is doing a great job. I said, wow, I never thought I'd hear that from you guys. I says, let me ask a question. What do you think about him? Why do you like that? Oh, he's settling all these wars. Nobody's ever done anything like that. I said, so what do you think about him not getting the Nobel Peace Prize? They said they should definitely give him the Nobel Peace Prize. I know they gave it to somebody else, but they should do something.
I don't understand why you keep encountering Democrats. Are you hanging out at gay bars or something? Where do you get all these Democrats coming up to you?
No. Unfortunately, the paddleball players are mostly Democrats. I don't know why, but
let me ask you something. Are there still gay bars? You know, because gays used to have their own bars when they were in the closet, But now, since everything's been settled, do they just go to regular bars now, or are there still gay bars? Does anyone know? I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder. I wonder if gay rights put gay bars out of business, right?
Yeah, man.
You never know.
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Has gay rights and acceptance put gay bars out of business? Give me a call. That sounds like a great topic. Yes.
I would bet, especially in South Florida, there probably is certainly
I don't know.
Gays.
I don't know.
Probably still, but who knows? Anyway, so like I was saying, they were saying that the Nobel should give a special deal. I said even if they don't give them any money, a special award for President Trump.
And don't buy this thing that the nomination time was over. They gave it to Obama on a dime. It was not within that window. They just did it. They did a special. They could do whatever they want. And I saw the press conference with that guy from the Nobel Committee, and we give the Nobel Prize to people of honor and dignity or some liberal crap. I mean, he took a shot at Trump. What a jerk. Who cares?
It really makes them look terrible. But I'm saying that these guys, these terrible players, are now Trump supporters.
Yeah.
Everybody in the country must be feeling the same way, man. I think Trump was one.
Well, you know what happens? Listen, when you grow up, these awards and honors that you grow up with as a kid, you realize are mean. Like when I was a kid, I don't know. You're a little older than me, right? I think. How old are you?
70.
70. Oh my goodness, you have young kids in school. How old's your wife?
My wife is 56.
You had kids old. Your kids are in high school, right?
No, they're in college now.
They're in college now. Okay, that's how long you've been calling. I remember they were in middle school. Okay, so
yeah.
So you didn't have them as old as I thought because they're in college, but still 70. That's old. Oh my goodness. But when I was a kid, there were some things I used to be like all into the Guinness Book of World Records. I thought that was so cool. And now who cares, right? How many hot dogs that guy ate or whatever, right? Who has the longest fingernails? And then I was into like the Oscars and the Emmys and the Grammys and the American Music Awards. And then you see how fixed that is, right? So you don't care about that. And now the Nobel Peace Prize it's done. It started with them giving it to they gave it to Obama before he even did anything, right? They gave it to him and they said, we're giving this to President Obama because of our future expectations for his greatness, right? So, that was the beginning. But this thing here with President Trump ending 8 of the 9 wars in the world in 9 months, they've lost their juice. It is no longer a credible award. They used to give it to. They used to give. I'll give an example. Like the Profiles in Courage Award is given out by the Kennedys every year, and they don't require you to read that anymore in school. But back in my day, we had to read it like in 8th grade or something, and it was the book written by President Kennedy when he was in the Senate, and it was about senators who did what they thought was right in the Senate, regardless of what their party was going. They went against their party. And, and the Nobel Peace Prize in some ways was kind of like that, right? They gave it to Martin Luther King and Gandhi, right? Because they were taking on the establishment. Now it is the establishment. Right? Like Bill Maher. Bill Maher, his original show on ABC was Politically Incorrect. Go back and watch that. It's the most politically correct show you've ever seen. But they used to give the Nobel Prize to people that were taking on the establishment. Like, I'll give you another example. Howard Stern used to fight the man, fight the establishment. Now he's like a retired old Jewish lady in Palm Beach, and he is the establishment, right? And that's how the Nobel is no longer being awarded to people who take on the establishment. It is the establishment now, right? And it will never recover from this. It is forever lost. It's like the Pulitzer to those New York Times reporters for the fake Russia reporting. If they were Pulitzer Prize winning quality reporters, they would have known the story was bogus, and the story would have been this fake thing that was being pushed. And they haven't even taken it away from them.
If they were smart, they would come out and say, well, since President Trump has done such incredible thing, we're going to give him a special award, a plaque or something.
No, they would have given him the Nobel Prize.
Something.
It will the Nobel Peace Prize will never recover from this.
No,
it is
never,
meaningless.
never.
It is liberal hacks, and it's they did themselves in. You know, they did themselves in with it. It will never again regain credibility.
Bud Light.
They Bud Lighted themselves. Yeah, that's it. You know,
Exactly.
it was kind of like the baseball record scandal when those guys were like Mark McGwire. All of them, I remember Mark McGwire. He what was the record he got for home? Whatever it was. And then I saw him testifying in Congress about steroids. He was a little tiny guy. All of a sudden, it looks like they. You know, Steve said it. He said it. He said Mark McGwire looks like they stuck a balloon, a needle in a balloon, and let all the air out. Those records became meaningless because they were all roided out, like Lance Armstrong, right? You know, and so these records and these awards, they've all exposed themselves. They're worthless. They're valueless. They mean nothing. Nothing.
That's too bad. That's too bad, man. I thought it was a good idea, but now, like you said, they exposed, and another one bites the dust.
All right. I got to run, Doug, but appreciate the call. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour and be right back. All right. Okay. Definitely got to do that. Okay, I'll share that. Okay. I'm just queuing some things up for the next segment. Oh, yes. That would definitely got to do that one. Okay. I'm just queuing up some of the audio that I want to get to. If I don't queue it up during, I can't. I get distracted and forget what I want to cover when I'm in the segments. Where is that clip? Oh, that's a good one too. There's so much good news, it's hard to decide where to go. Okay, that's what I'll do when we get back. Okay. Okay, we got some time. I will take a call while we're in break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Florida.
Yeah.
You said you were queuing up something.
You're on. Why don't I do what? Did you think better of it? Yeah, he hung up on himself. Whatever he was going to say, he lost his train of thought. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay. Okay, we'll be back shortly. Hold on. I'm getting some stuff ready for the next segment. Hold on. Okay, we'll be back in just a minute here. Less than a minute. Sorry, sometimes it takes... I got some audio that I want to get to in the next hour. Sometimes, if I don't cue stuff up during the break, I'll forget about it, and then I won't get to it. I do that all the time. I'm like, oh, I meant to bring that up. Okay. We got about 30 seconds, and we will be back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. So yesterday, I played one clip from President Trump's press conference. He had a press event in the cabinet room yesterday before the Charlie Kirk medal ceremony. And this was amazing. He got a question from one of the fake news. Listen to this.
Your ABC fake news. Brian, please.
First of all, congratulations.
I don't take questions from ABC fake news. After what you did with Stephanopoulos to the Vice President of the United States, I don't take questions from ABC fake news. Brian, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. Now, isn't that something? He really clamped down on ABC fake news. And this is what had happened. This is Stephanopoulos with the vice president over the weekend.
George, I saw media reports that Tom Homan accepted a bribe. There's no evidence of that. And here's, George, why fewer and fewer people watch your program and why you're losing credibility. Because you're talking for now 5 minutes with the Vice President of the United States about this story regarding Tom Homan, a story that I've read about, but I don't even know the video that you're talking about. Meanwhile, low-income women can't get food because the Democrats and Chuck Schumer have shut down the government. Right now, we're trying to figure out how to pay our troops because Chuck Schumer has shut down the government. You are focused on a bogus story. You're insinuating criminal wrongdoing against a guy who has done nothing wrong instead of focusing on the fact that our country is struggling because our government's shut down. Let's talk about the real issues, George. I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No, George, I said that I don't.
Up next, we'll be right back.
Wow, he cut off the vice president, and President Trump stood up for him. Now, I'm going to play that clip of the president again because there's something else I want to share with it. But Stephanopoulos, he cut the vice president off before he could respond to his slander. And Stephanopoulos obviously is a broken man. He's a scumbag. Stephanopoulos has always been a scumbucket, okay? But remember, he had that lawsuit that he lost against the president. And the first time he got into trouble, these people in the media are so grossly overpaid. I mean, they make tens of millions of dollars a year. I was in shock when Bret Baier had a over $30 million home up the street from Mar-a-Lago. And that's not even his main house. I was like, surprised. Wow, they pay a lot on that show. I'm grossly underpaid, people, very much so. But I came to realize something when I found out when Bret Baier had that $35 million house he bought in Palm Beach. I realized something then. Why these guys make so much money. It made sense before you had all the cable and all the internet, and it was just the network guys. We just had those three guys at night doing their 22-minute shows. That was network television. There was no cable. Many millions watched every night. And them being paid what they were paid was understandable, and it made sense. I remember Walter Cronkite in his retirement. He had this yacht that he used to drive. I don't know where it was. Wherever he drove it. And he used to take, like, the Clintons and stuff on it, and he would break all the wake laws, causing people to have wakes on their seawalls and stuff. But it made sense. Walter Cronkite, when he was on CBS News, there were 3 channels. Everybody watched it, so he made all that money. But why do they pay these people tens of millions of dollars a year who have very small audiences? And I realized it. they've all made deals with the devil. They pay them so they'll say and do whatever the heck they want them to do to spread their propaganda. They're all deals with the devil. Literally, remember that the third Oh God movie, Oh God, You Devil? Remember that? George Burns was in that one too. The guy wanted to be a rock star. He made a deal with the devil to be a rock star. Remember that? That's what all these guys have done. They've all made deals with the devil to have these big jobs in the fake news media and get paid millions of dollars. All they have to do is say whatever crap they want them to say. And Stephanopoulos, and they have them under their control. That's why they keep him around. The first time Stephanopoulos ran into trouble was during the Democrat primary for the 2008 election when Hillary was running against Obama, right? She wasn't secretary yet. Senator Clinton versus Senator Obama. And this shows you what happens when you make these deals with the devil, okay? Now, George Stephanopoulos, this scumbag, who I don't know how he's on television, he worked, a lot of you know, many of you don't because you weren't around then, but he worked for the Clintons. He first worked for it wasn't Mario Cuomo he worked for. Who was the big New York Democrat he worked for before the Clintons? Was it Mario Cuomo? I could be wrong, but anyway, read this. He became well known. He was the spokesperson for Governor Clinton's presidential campaign in 1992. And he was very young at the time and considered a hipster. And the whole thing with the whole Clinton campaign is they got all these young hipsters, baby boomers were kids then, still young people. And he was this hipster. And he went on to be the White House press spokesperson. He had Caroline Leavitt's job in the beginning of Clinton's first term. And they fired him from that job, and he got promoted to. They kicked him upstairs. He became special advisor for the president. That didn't work out long. And the reason that they got rid of do you remember why they got rid of him as the press spokesperson? He was nasty, and everyone hated him. He didn't get along with anybody because the way he was with Vance, he was with everybody. He's a nasty man. But what he did for Bill Clinton, he did this in the first presidential campaign, and he did this in the White House. They had a 3-person committee. It was George Stephanopoulos, James Carville, and Hillary Clinton. And any time one of Bill Clinton's victims would come forward and say, I was raped, I was sexually assaulted, I was groped, he gave me a bloody lip, George Stephanopoulos, James Carville, and Hillary Clinton, it started with Jennifer Flowers. Remember Hillary's hairdresser that Clinton had an affair with? And they would get in their little room, and then they would come up with a strategy to smear their reputations in public and destroy their lives. He was a part of that. This guy, George Stephanopoulos, is one of the biggest, scummiest people in the media. And they abuse him, and he takes the abuse because he makes all this money still. But he looks like a dork and a jerk with the vice president over the weekend, and then this moment yesterday. Let's take our last break of the hour. We'll be right back. I'm not finished with the Trump clip, so I got to go back to that when we get back. Okay, we'll be back shortly. Hold on, let me. Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, Patrick just sent me another link to Russia's show. Good. And then somebody, Mike the board op, sent me a link. Okay, I got to check all these out after the show. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. This is where MAGA comes to talk. We'll be back in just over a minute. I'll take some more calls. If you want to call in, the number is pinned in the live stream. The show has flown by. I mean, I started at 5. It's almost 8. Less than a minute. We'll be back. So strange. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. We'll go back to the phones. Our number, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Dean from Mega Martin County.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man. I was just listening to the CBS rejection that Trump did.
Oh, it was beautiful.
I hope that the whole administration won't answer questions to CBS, including Caroline Leavitt. That would be so awesome to just blackball those people.
Yeah, you know, there's a history of that at the White House, actually. There was...
Yeah.
Oh, who was that old hag liberal lady, the Palestinian lover, Helen Thomas. She had been at in the White House press corps since Kennedy was president, and I can't remember what the issue was, but the Bush administration didn't call on her for years because of something she said, and it was so there is a history of that.
Well, they got rid of Acosta, what was his name, Jim Acosta? He got pretty much pushed out.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
From CNN. Hey, I came up with a new nickname for Moron Zodummy, the New York mayor.
Zohan?
Candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I call him Moron Zodummy.
I like that. You know.
And then
you got
I need to give Renee the Retard. His new nickname for me is Renee the Retard from New York.
Nah, that's not clever enough for MAGA. The first one's good. You know, there's a story about Zohan that he took thousands of dollars in foreign donations, and they're trying to make this a scandal. There's nothing that's going to stop these Democrats from voting for Zohan. If he came out and threw a parade for the 9/11 hijackers, New York would make him mayor. You understand? There's nothing.
Yeah,
there's not that he's done that, but if he did, that's an extreme example. But no matter what he does or says, there's nothing that would stop them from voting for this guy.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, that podcast you did about the Big Tish. I mean, she's lost her mind. I mean, the use. I mean, she was going into the what's that comedian's name? He used to the Coming to America. You read?
Oh, yeah, Arsenio Hall's preacher from Coming to America.
Yeah. I mean, who follows these people? I mean, their IQ is lower than 2 cells. It's crazy.
But you know something? I saw on I was on my Instagram feed this morning. I got to see. They didn't pop back up, but there's a young girl who's running for city commission in Miami Beach, and I don't know. She popped up in my feed because I'm in South Florida, I guess. And she did this strange campaign. I cannot remember her name. It didn't come back up. I'm going to try to find it. But it showed her campaign sign in this thing on Instagram. It was the same font. Yeah. It was the same font as Zohan, and she's Jewish.
Oh yeah.
She's Jewish, and I'm pretty sure I remember. I was looking at it in bed before I got out of bed this morning, and I remember her last name, but I'm going to check it out first and find out who she is and make sure it's who I think it is. But she's a Democrat running for city commission in Miami Beach, and the font on her logo was the same font and color of Zohan's, which is that Islamic writing style. It's an Islamic font. It's an Arabic font.
Yeah, you said that on the podcast. I remember that.
Go look at it. Yeah, go look at his website. And I was in the same color and font and everything. And I'm wondering, is she just modeling herself after him, or is it the same people? And I want to find out because she's Jewish. So why is a Jew in league with this guy who won't condemn the Intifada?
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking? It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, Tish James goes down. That would be, like a super holiday. We need to make that a holiday for MAGA.
Yep. All right. Take care. Appreciate the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian. Chris from Pompano.
Hey, Chris. What's up?
Just take it off speaker.
Uh-huh.
Great. No, I just wanted to, follow up with the whole ABC thing because, we can always count on them. But I was brilliant that Vice President, how he handled that. He mentioned, hey, there's obviously clearly more important issues to discuss, but yet Stephanopoulos just wants to, go after yet another conservative, and anything negative will do with them.
Yes.
And I'm reminded that how I remember that one comedian, I think it was Roseanne Barr, who said a clean joke about Pocahontas, and they called up their friends at ABC, said, okay, get her off the air, cancel her, and that's what they do.
That's exactly right.
They take away your freedom of speech. They're talking about freedom of speech with Jimmy Kimmel. Come on. I brought up Roseanne Barr right away. They kicked her off permanently. And, of course, you knew Kimmel was only going to be temporary.
Yeah.
But, it's ridiculous, the double standard there. But, I'm glad President Trump did say that and got on him about it. Said, nope, sorry, fake news.
Yeah, absolutely.
No question for you.
Yeah, I did find this girl, and I say girl because she's like a child, I on Instagram, because I remember the last name. And I'll share, if you guys follow me on Instagram, I'll share it in my Instagram stories. I'll do it during the next break. I'll share her campaign ad in my Instagram stories. Brian Crickshaw on Instagram. This is not a plug for my Instagram. It's just I can't get the Instagram video to go to my X. So I'll share it on my Instagram stories, and just look at the font coloring and everything. I don't know. Does it look the same to you? Okay, I appreciate the call. All right, take care. Now, I want to mention this, back to the president at this press conference yesterday. There's been some weird stuff going on in the last week with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I might have played a couple of the clips on the program this week. I know I played some on my podcast. I'm not sure if I did here in the morning. She did this bizarre CNN interview, and Marjorie Taylor Greene's saying all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, she just is, about deportations and other things, right? You've heard this? And there's a lot of, and I'm confused by it because we're all fans. Everyone MAGA has always loved Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she's been critical of the president. She even she did the CNN interview with Blitzer where she said crazy stuff, and then she did the next day a podcast interview dropped, and she took a jab at President Trump and his meme coin and his cryptocurrency and everything. And people were like, what is going on? Is she anti-Trump? Is she no longer MAGA? And I'm confused by it. And I've talked about it. And I said, maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene, the president's not mad at her, that she's running for re-election and she's pivoting this way to get reelected. I don't know, but I don't think the president is mad at her. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to replay the clip of President Trump going after the ABC News reporter, okay? And I'll tell you afterward how it relates to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
ABC fake news. Brian, please.
First of all, congratulations.
I don't take questions from ABC fake news. After what you did with Stephanopoulos to the Vice President of the United States, I don't take questions from ABC fake news. Brian, go ahead. Yes.
Okay, the Brian he went to twice there, who's oftentimes his first question. Brian is Brian Glenn, used to be with Right Side Broadcasting. He's now with Real American Voice, and he's Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend. He left his wife for Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she left her husband for him. So if Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's out there even trashing Trump's cryptocurrency, which I have some of that Trump coin, I have some of that, and saying these other things that she's been saying, President Trump's not angry with her. If he were angry with her, would he be taking these questions from Brian Glenn all the time like this over these fake news reporters? I don't think so. I think that if he were mad at Marjorie Taylor Greene, if she was defying Trump and was in private was anti-Trump, Brian Glenn would be getting shut out like the ABC News reporters getting shut out, not for anything they did, but for what Stephanopoulos did. So my only guess is Marjorie Taylor Greene, her district has changed, and she's doing what she thinks she's got to do to get reelected. That's all I can say. I did play the clips earlier this week of her. I'm not going to pull them up and play them today. What are your thoughts on that? If President Trump were ticked off at Marjorie Taylor Greene, would he be so polite and always go to her boyfriend? I don't think so. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. At 1-888-465-2631. A lot of palace intrigue going on, right? 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, no matter where you're located. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk about Life Imaging FLA. You know, they have 3 locations in Broward, Miami, and Palm Beach. You know, Life Imaging FLA can easily detect heart disease and even some cancers before you show any symptoms. Early detection, of course, saves lives, and they're all about preventative health. And while I came out with no plaque, no blockage, no cancer, people go in there and find out all kinds of things, and their lives are saved every day at Life Imaging FLA. You know, 1 of 3 people will die from heart disease, and 30 to 40% of heart attacks, the first symptom is sudden death. And when you get the scan at Life Imaging FLA, there's no dyes. You don't have to get undressed. I kept my shirt and jeans on, my watch, everything. I didn't have to get undressed. It takes just a few minutes. And, you know, the thing is, you know, like, traditional medicine is reactive. They're proactive. They're finding out in advance. You know, multiple studies have shown that looking inside the body with CT scans can significantly reduce cancer deaths. And the CT scan that they use is one of those open things. You're not going into some tunnel and all that stuff you hear crazy stories about. I couldn't believe it. It's like completely open. You know, it was amazing. It was just basically almost like a ring, you know, and of course I got all good news, thankfully so. And I've been a much happier person because for years I just assumed at some point in my 50s I was going to have a heart attack and drop dead. And now I know, no plaque buildup, no blockage in my heart, and no cancer in my body. This is amazing. Call Life Imaging FLA for your free heart scan now. With just a few minimum requirements, that's valued at $699. From your cell phone, call pound 250 and say free heart scan. That's pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. Pound 250 on your cell phone and say free heart scan. All right, 1 hour to go. Call us on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number is toll free. 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be back after our top of the hour break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay, gotta share that. Oh, yes. I haven't gotten to that yet. Oh, by the way, guys, if you're 65 years of age or older, it is Medicare open enrollment season. This is the only time of year you can make changes to your existing Medicare policy. You know, Chapter joined us. They're our first truly national advertiser on the program because they cover all 50 states. When you call this number, 805-754-3033, 805-754-3033, 3033. You're going to get a live agent on the phone that completely for free will answer all your questions about Medicare. They'll review your policy to make sure your policy is going to be in existence after the end of this year. They'll make sure you're getting all the coverage that you're entitled to, and they'll make sure you're not paying too much. You know, the average chapter client saves $1,100 a year on their Medicare. Isn't that something? So give them a call, 805-754-3033. That's 805-754-3033. The help is always free. Give them a call. Okay. Okay, we will be back in about 90 seconds. Okay, about 30 seconds and we'll be back. One hour to go. The fourth hour since I started at 5. All right, the third hour has begun. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. I have covered a lot. You're welcome to call in about anything I brought up so far. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Dan from Florida.
Okay.
What do you think about Trump's spiritual advisor getting arrested?
Who got arrested? Give me a name.
It's a spiritual advisor. I don't have his name. It's a spiritual advisor.
Well, no, you know about it. What do you know?
Well, he was arrested for pedophilia.
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I'm looking in the news, and nothing comes up. If a Trump advisor was arrested for anything, I think it'd be a headline story. All right, take care. Oh, my goodness. Guy's been holding on for about 30 minutes. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Boy, oh, boy.
Good morning, Brian. This is Barbara in Baltimore.
Hey, Barbara.
I had a comment about Taylor Greene. She has been mouthing off a bit, and I follow her on X and True Social. Marjorie Taylor Greene used to be very relevant, and she and Matt Gaetz kept a lot of stuff going on. Her name was, out there a lot, and I think that's a little bit of what's going on with her. She now is talking about the nuclear option that soon should show strength and use the nuclear option. And I had to I'm like, it's time to just let the leaders lead, because Donald Trump and John, they're playing this exactly the way it should be played. They're going to furlough people in some of these nonsensical jobs that were created by Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden and the Biden administration, they hired so many government workers for do-nothing jobs. So President Trump and John Thune know what they're doing, but I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is just having some flashbacks. about her
She
heyday.
certainly isn't as relevant as she used to be. I mean, there's been some,
She and Matt Gaetz used to keep it going on. And
Yeah.
see, I think she misses that.
But
and
but
yesterday- well,
the
not
thing
yesterday,
but the
couple-
things that she's been saying are pretty bad. I mean, she got really nasty in this. I can't remember if it was the podcast interview or CNN over President Trump's crypto thing. And I
didn't hear that.
I think she's just fighting to be reelected next year, because if President Trump were ticked off at her, he wouldn't be so nice to Brian Glenn, her boyfriend. They live together.
Well, but they're two different things.
No, he shut down that. He shut down that.
Big.
He shut down that ABC reporter.
Isn't Brian on? Isn't that RSBN?
No, he's on. He used to be. He's on.
Okay.
Yeah, he moved to Real America's Voice. But President Trump shut down that
President
ABC
Trump
reporter for what Stephanopoulos said. So he does enact revenge.
He's not that kind of guy. President, he compartmentalizes things very well, and those would be two different issues. But in any event, she said something the other day about the health care that I thought was off the cuff. About her kids having their Obama wages going up, and I had to send her a little note to remind her she makes $175,000 a year. If that's the issue. But
she's also a millionaire, by the way.
The
She's a
government shouldn't be
millionaire.
in healthcare at all.
She's a millionaire too.
Healthcare is not for the government at all. We should be able to buy healthcare across state lines the same way we buy car insurance and life insurance.
Well, hold on,
Just that it's a
hold on,
big
Barbara.
Cash cow.
Or hey, Barbara, I appreciate the call. Appreciate the call, Barbara. Just that's kind of a generic discussion. No, listen, Marjorie Taylor Greene's also a millionaire, so you're a millionaire. You help your kids out. The way she's acting is out of character. And President Trump does enact revenge on people in the press for things others do that are connected to them, like the ABC. The ABC reporter was punished yesterday and dressed down because of what Stephanopoulos did, not what they did. And if he were really upset at Marjorie Taylor Greene, I just don't think he would be so buddy-buddy with her boyfriend that she lives with, Brian Glenn. That's just me. Now, I could be wrong about that, but there's something else in play. All right, so I wanted to share this. This is out of Los Angeles.
LA County has declared a state of emergency over the immigration raids.
I'll play the whole story. Mayor Karen Bass has declared a state of emergency in Los Angeles because ICE is deporting. And, years ago, deportations were everyday occurrences, right? Remember Cheech Marin, I Was Born in East LA, the song, they made a movie about it, Jan Michael Vincent played the Border Patrol agent that deported him, And but now they've declared a national emergency, not for fires in Malibu started by that liberal Uber driver, not for some tidal wave that may be coming, but because ICE is there. So is Karen Bass involved in an insurrection against the federal government? She's declared a state of emergency because the President of the United States, the leader of the federal government, has sent federal agents to L.A. to enforce federal law. She's obstructing the federal government from doing business, the business of enforcement of immigration laws, by declaring a state of emergency. Is Karen Bass an insurrectionist? I say yes. Let me play the whole story. This is nutty.
LA County has declared a state of emergency over the immigration raids. The Board of Supervisors voted today. Board members say the raids are preventing people from going to work and forcing some businesses to close. The emergency allows the board to look at enacting an eviction moratorium and other protections for people impacted by the raids. And this news just coming into our newsroom. Will, of course, continue to follow it.
Okay. This is... it's so strange. Okay, she's declared a state of emergency. So if you're a renter in Los Angeles and your tenant doesn't pay the rent, you can no longer evict them under Karen Bass's emergency order. And isn't that crazy? That's why I would never get in the rental business. No way. No way. There's too many angles that you get ripped off if you're a renter, right? Oh my! If you're renting, this is crazy. You can't evict people if they don't pay their rent now in Los Angeles. Karen Bass, state of emergency. Do you see why she's doing this? The reason she's doing this is because they can't work. They've been raiding businesses around Los Angeles County, in the city of Los Angeles, so people aren't going to work because they're afraid of getting deported. So they're staying home. And if they're not working, they don't have the rent money. So the state of emergency is for the rent moratorium of Karen Bass, so that they can hide out. I mean, if that's not an insurrection, I don't know what it is. And it's also criminal, what she's doing here. This is nuts. But you ever heard that thing, history is written by the victors, and everyone has a different view of history from their perspective? To Karen Bass and to the liberal, I know, isn't that crazy what she's done here? I want you to think about what I'm about to tell you, okay? This is these people on the left are so freaking insane, okay? So Karen Bass has declared a state of emergency in the city of Los Angeles because, and that's what they said, businesses aren't open,
Lake
right?
County has declared a state of emergency over the immigration raids. The Board of Supervisors voted today. Board members say the raids are preventing people from going to work and forcing some businesses to close.
Okay, so these are low-income people for the most part, and they're living paycheck to paycheck. They don't have the rent money, so they can't be evicted, right? To Karen Bass and to the city council in Los Angeles and to liberals, these illegals that are in their apartments throughout LA not paying the rent, they're hiding from ICE agents. That's why they're not going to work. To Karen Bass and these liberals, all these illegals are like Anne Frank hiding in the attic. I'm not kidding. They're all Anne Franks to them. There's, when J.D. Vance said a few weeks ago when he hosted the Charlie Kirk show, he said there's no unity with these people. There's not. They're on another planet than we're on. When they think that these illegals in LA are all a bunch of Anne Franks, because remember what happened to Anne Frank? She didn't survive the war. Her dad did, but she didn't. And they're calling them Nazis and fascist and everything else. Forget about Governor Newsom. Does the federal government have the authority to federalize a city? Because Los Angeles is a city in open rebellion against the federal government right now. This is a whole new level. If you're on hold, stand by. I got a call last week on I was driving in my car, and it pops up on the caller ID. It was Steve Kane's wife, Lori, calling me. I'm like, what is she calling me for? And she was getting a tune-up on their Toyota Highlander. They have a Toyota Highlander at the dealership, and she got a price on tires. And she said, what do you think Friendly Mike would charge for these tires? And I said, I don't know, but I'm heading there right now. I'll ask him, and I'll call you back in a minute. And the price, she went in yesterday and got her tires. And I talked to Friendly Mike yesterday. He told me the price. And I know what the dealership quoted her. Steve Kane's wife, think about this. And by the way, this is the same pricing you would get too. She didn't get a special deal because she's Steve Kane's wife. This is the low price everybody gets, okay? Lori Kane, Steve Kane's wife, got 4 brand new tires out the door and on the road, because remember, Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance, mount, or dispose of your old tires. Okay. She got 4 new tires for a lot less than the dealership wanted for 2. She got 4 new tires for a lot less, hundreds less, than what the dealership wanted for 2. Brand new tires out the door and on the road. Give Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's amazing. That's a great deal. 954-977-9445. Give them a call. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll take the calls after the break. Okay, we'll be back in a minute, and I'll go to the phones. Oh, I got to get Barry. Hey, Barry, hold on. We'll be back shortly. Hold on. All right, we are back, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing well. What do you have for us this morning?
Well, it's going to be pretty much the same as what I said yesterday, because we're really excited that we are having our very first workshop, our Living Trust Seminar in Wellington at the Fairfield Inn on Forest Hill Boulevard, and that's going to be tomorrow at 10 a.m., and we have more coming. We have more living trusts and more Medicaid planning workshops coming to Wellington, and of course, Boca Raton, Naples, and we have some other locations that we're going to be revealing pretty soon, and even some other topics we'll be revealing pretty soon as well. So we're really excited about that.
Absolutely.
We're really excited about making our first appearance in Wellington.
Let me ask you, Barry, that hotel, what's the name of the hotel again on Forest Hill?
It's Fairfield Inn. It's sort of the information I have here is it's 10616 Forest Hill Boulevard.
Okay.
And if somebody contacts my office, of course, to register, which we need a registration for you to come, and it's free. It's absolutely free. We will give you all the information you need, including the address and everything else that you may need.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because, you know, you've been in practice. How long have you been in practice now at the Siegel Law Group?
Well, I've been in practice over 25 years, and Siegel Law Group has been open over 23 years.
Wow!
So I've been doing it for a little while.
Yeah, and you've been headquartered out of Boca, all these years, but this is your first time over in Wellington, which is really a nice place. I remember as a kid going through Wellington to go to Lion Country Safari, and it was like cow fields. Now it's like a city. It's like Plantation or Fort Lauderdale. It's a really nice place. And I know we got a lot of listeners over there. And if you guys have not been to one of the workshops of Attorney Barry Siegel, you're missing out, because I talk to Barry for years and years and years here, several times a week. I've lost count of how many workshops, and every time I go to a workshop, it's like I've never been before because I learn so many new things. And you really should go. And you know, one thing I'll tell you this, okay, about your workshops, Barry. They're not that long. You know, sometimes people think, oh, workshop, I'm going to be there all afternoon. No, you cut them down to the exact amount of time, and they're interesting. So you're not going to be bored, and they don't go on forever and ever either. People hear workshops in a hotel, Barry, they get nervous. No, they're entertaining, they're informative, and the time that you take to do them is brief enough where, you know.
Thank you.
You know what I mean by that? You know, I've been to those. It's not like a timeshare presentation.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, on the one hand, you know, we certainly, you know, but the people who come to these workshops are going to be given the opportunity to sign up for a free consultation with us to kind of take it to the next step and have their estate planning documents reviewed. So, you know, there is a next step, of course, for those who may learn something or see value in updating their estate plans. But our goal is to really educate people, give people information that either they forgot or things that aren't even on their radar. I promise anybody who comes to these workshops is going to learn something that's going to be of significant value to them and to their loved ones. They're going to walk away with some good information that will be very, very helpful to them.
And I'll add this: if you've had your, you know, I've been to your workshops where I've met people that were clients of yours that were coming back to get an update. But if you've had your estate planning done by another attorney, another law firm, and you think you're all set, go to the workshop. Because I promise you that whoever you went to, if it was not Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group, it is not as detailed as what you get with the Siegel Law Group. It's amazing to me, Barry, how many different scenarios estates can run into that you take care of. I mean, it's amazing. There's endless scenarios, and they're all taken care of with the way you put together these revocable living trusts. Well, listen, call the office and you'll get exact directions. It is free. It is tomorrow. It is in Wellington. The number is 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. And Siegel is S-I-E-G-E-L, S-I-E-G-E-L, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week.
All right, wonderful.
All right, take care. All right, to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Mark from New York. How you doing today?
All right, Mark.
Hey, you know, I think I owe you an apology. I always thought you were an idiot, but maybe it's not your fault. I think maybe it's the education system in Florida. So,
wait a minute. Weird. Was that pause for people to laugh? Were people supposed to laugh at that pause?
No, it's for you to take it in because
you know what's happening. People aren't laughing at what you're saying; they're laughing at you. I mean, this is pathetic. Come on.
Really?
Yes. You think you're making points here? You think this is so pathetic?
25 million people want. I was looking up. I tried to find the 25 million illegals trying to get, the Democrats trying to get them insurance. I couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah, well, you're watching the wrong stuff. The President of the United States, the Speaker of the House. No. Biden brought. Excuse me. Biden brought 25 million in. Okay, they're trying to get health insurance coverage for millions of them. The Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, the President and Vice President of the United States, those are my sources, not some unfunny no-talent from New York who thinks he's a comedian.
I wasn't being funny. I was letting you.
Yes, you were. You thought you were being. You thought you were saying something funny. You even paused.
Is that a laugh track?
You even paused for people to laugh. That might be listening. That dramatic pause you took. I knew what you were doing. But you're not funny.
No, I was letting I was letting you respond.
Listen to you.
Because
I'm making you laugh.
cut in.
I'm so good. I'm making you laugh at yourself. I am making fun of you, and you're laughing at me making fun of you. That's how good. That's comedy.
I'm saying I can prove that you're bad at math. I can prove it.
Oh, that's a given. That's a given. You know, please, are you kidding? I suck at math.
Okay.
That's why you don't hear me doing math all the time.
In 2026, you will have been on the air for 49. Right now, you're working on 49. You're actually been on the air for 48 years.
All right.
But you guys,
you know what? But you're still the joke. Oh my goodness! All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Captain White again here.
White. It's one call per show, but you're new, so I'll give you a special. It's one call per show.
All right.
But go ahead. You're back.
Well,
I don't remember anything about your previous call other than your name. What kind of captain are you? What are you a captain of? What are you a captain of?
I'm the captain of my own ship. Captain of my own ship, sir. Look.
Do you own a boat? Do you have a boat? Do you have a boat?
Yes, sir.
Really?
Yes, sir.
What kind of boat do you have?
Yes.
What kind of boat?
I have a 28-foot Dominator.
A what? What kind of boat is that? What do you use that boat for?
It's for the river, sir.
A what?
It's a river boat. It's a jet boat, river boat.
If I fell off the starboard side, which side would I have fallen off on?
The left side.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, I wasn't here about trying to talk to you about.
You said the left side?
Talk to you about. Yeah.
No.
I was trying to talk to you about stuff in California, sir.
Yeah.
I was trying to talk to you about stuff.
No, the left. I wanted to check this. The port side is the left. You sure you're a boat captain?
Well, maybe I'm not that good of a. Maybe I'm not that good of a captain.
Maybe you're not a captain.
Okay, so.
Why? What is what is this cosplay thing you're doing?
I'm just trying.
Why are you? I'm curious. Why are you trying to pass yourself off as a boat captain? Yeah, I'm curious. Why would you try to pass yourself off as a boat captain?
Yeah, it's too much to talk about.
Did you always dream of being a boat captain? I mean, what? And that boat you named, if it's a real boat, is that like your fantasy boat? I mean, why? I'm serious. Why would you? Well, I'm so glad I let you back on the second time. Usually I would just hang up. I'm glad I kept you on. This is my favorite call of the day. Why would you pass yourself off as a boat captain? Is that like your fantasy life?
Because I knew you'd hang up if I didn't say anything else.
No, you called in and called yourself Captain White earlier. You could be anything. You could pass yourself off as anything. Why are you doing stolen valor on the boat captain thing?
Well, you see me in the chat. You understand.
I don't see you in the chat. I don't know who you are. I know what you're not.
Oh, well,
and that is a boat owner. You don't own a boat. You don't own a boat. You're not a boat captain, and you don't work on a boat. Because you don't know the difference between the port and the starboard. And you gave me an answer like, there was another guy that used to call the show. We have Conservative Doug call. And the reason we call Doug Conservative Doug, there used to be another Doug who was Angry Doug, and he was always nasty. And he used to say that he was a boat captain too. He used to say that he was a charter boat captain. And he did this. He called the show for many years. And then someone that Steve and I know got served a subpoena, and it was by him. And they recognized his voice from his calls. He was a process server, which is a real low-life job. I mean, being a process server is like bottom of the barrel bucket jobs. Yeah, but he passed himself. He was trying to pass himself off as a charter boat captain because he was embarrassed and ashamed to be a process server because he spent his whole life sneaking up on people, You know? So what is it about you that has you creating this cosplay life as a boat captain, which you're not, which you've confessed to since I exposed you? What do you really do?
Well, I don't want to say it on air, man.
Nobody knows who you are, Captain White. I mean, that you gave a fake name. What do you do? What do you do? What do you really do? Nothing?
I'm an electrician.
You what?
I'm an electrician.
I'm going to call BS on that too. I'm not going to ask you a bunch of electrician questions, but that's a skilled job that's highly respected and highly paid. If you were truly an electrician, you would not be passing yourself off as a boat captain. You'd call in and say, my name's Sparky White, I'm an electrician, as opposed to Captain White, I'm a boat guy. You know what I mean? And you'd be working. You've called me twice today. You'd be busy with appointments and be busy working. You wouldn't be calling me. All right. Hey, listen, welcome to the program.
All right, so you're not going to answer any of my questions.
There's nothing that you have to say that's going to be nearly as interesting as the conversation we've already had to the audience. And it would just, and I'm late for a break anyway. Hey, listen, make sure you call again sometime. We had a good conversation, all right?
All right.
You can keep the Captain White name. You know, you can still call yourself Captain White. I won't make fun of you. I won't make fun of you every time for lying.
It's all right.
To so many people.
It's the same.
What?
I said everyone else makes fun of you just the same. That's how it is.
Yeah, but I don't have some fake persona. Everybody knows who I am, what I am, and what I do. I'm not hiding. I'm public.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't explain it to you over air. It doesn't make any sense to do that.
To do what?
But what do you mean?
Okay, listen. You sound like you've have a concussion now. So I'm gonna let you go. All right, take care. Good to talk to you. Oh my goodness. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. If you're on hold, stand by. Our number is toll free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Jeez. Oh my goodness. I almost feel bad for that one. Almost. I didn't say I feel bad. I said I almost feel bad. Big difference. All right. All right. Excuse. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. We'll be back in a couple minutes, guys. Oh my goodness. Okay, what do I have left to do? Oh. I got... Does anyone remember Angry Doug? Oh my goodness. The process server that pretended to be a boat captain? Oh my gosh. That guy... I tell you what I did to... Oh, I got to tell you about this. I'll tell you a funny thing about Angry Doug when we get back. Hold on. Okay. Well, I got to get my commercial copy ready. Okay, this one. This one. All right. Today's show has flown by. I cannot believe I started at 5 a.m. The show has flown by. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Does anyone remember Angry Doug in the chat? Let me know, yes or no. It's been a long time since he's called. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. Man, he even had a 50-50 chance with that one, right? He had a 50-50 chance with the port and the starboard, and he got it wrong. I had a follow-up question, which I'm not going to tell you. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's Long. Does anyone remember Angry Doug, the process server, who passed himself off for years as a charter boat captain? And the final straw with him is I was editing a best of show for Steve and I were going to be off, and I was editing a best of show, and it was an old show, and I found a bet. It was a few $100 bet that Angry Doug had made with Steve on the election, and he had never paid the bet. So I took the clip off the show and I brought it up to Steve and played it on the air, and he's like, "Oh, it was like $300 or $400, maybe $500. It was between $300 and $500." On an election. Steve won the bet, and he had never collected from Doug, and I took the tape and told the whole story on the air and everything else. And he came in the next day before the show and paid the bet. And Steve gave me $100 of the bet for like, I guess because I got a fee for doing the collections. He was pissed. He came in with $100 bills, and he was videotaping it, so he had documentation that he had paid the bet. It was hilarious. Oh my God, I miss Angry Doug. Are you still out there? Haven't heard from you in a long time. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Milo, Cuyahoga Falls.
Hey, Milo.
I want to make a comment about all these people that are complaining about deportation and young people getting grabbed up or innocent people. I don't think people realize what a birthright citizenship is and how you get that status. But in order for you to get birthright citizenship, one parent has to be legal to vote. Okay? If one of the parents is not able to,
so if you've got two 16-year-olds, one of them and they impregnates the other and they have a kid, they're not a citizen, they can't vote. No, that's not what it says.
You have to be legal.
That's not what it says.
Able to vote in the United States.
That's not what it says. But I'll tell you what it doesn't say. Okay, it doesn't say you can get knocked up in Caracas and make your way to the U.S. border and drop your baby in some emergency room in Texas, and all of a sudden your kid can be president of the United States one day. It doesn't say that.
And this is
maybe we could. Could we at least change it? Could we just change it? Could we just change it to where they're? All right, appreciate the call. Could we just change it to where you have to be conceived in America? How about that? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Oh, hey, JJ. Oh, my goodness. What a show.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. A couple quick things, and then I wanted to talk about some immigration in California. I'll say to Mark from New York, I think he needs to check himself because New York State is twice the budget than Florida. And Florida has, it's just insane.
Let me tell you, I got yesterday, Ron DeSantis is going to earn some respect. He's come up. He's on a mission to end property taxes. I got in the mail yesterday. My homeowner's insurance company sent me a letter telling me what the new rate is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of money. Yeah. It is so. I mean, let me tell you. My mother is retired and her house is paid for, and she's told me so many times that she wants to give up her insurance. It's a lot of money. She says, if I have to buy a whole new roof, it's going to be a lot less than this, And I said, Mom, don't do it. And I tell you, it's a lot of money. It is so, I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to open up the envelope when it came yesterday, and I usually don't. And I said, well, I better open it up. Maybe there's something else in there. It's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And then I went and looked to see what my property insurance is, and of course it went up again. I mean, it's they're killing us.
Yeah, no, it's the taxes and state governments, but I mean, just Mark kind of annoys me a little bit.
What was he talking about? I don't remember exactly.
Well, he was just talking about. He tried to be funny. He's talking about math, and I'm just
the math.
I think Florida has you on math. Your budget, you got more corruption up there and indoctrination. Florida's doing much better with math. But, then I just wanted to mention that, IB...
I mean, listen, in New York, they think Mar-a-Lago's worth like $6 million or whatever. What do they value Mar-a-Lago at?
Their math is not
exactly.
very good up there. I think it might, who knows, it might be the cold weather. Or
yeah.
I think it's just the...
Give me a break.
It's just the liberal indoctrination. But, listen, IB's call today, his reaction, I just wanted to let him know that, listen, that was my reaction. I don't know how anybody could have watched. I watched it on your channel, Brian.
I was tearing up while Erica was talking. I was tearing up.
My sister cried for about, I'd say, almost all of it. Really, she couldn't stop. I mean, I was passing her tissue. It was just a beautiful moment. The best birthday gift. The best birthday gift.
That was a really cool thing that she said there. Well, cool with the thing, but what is with all the rings she's wearing? Because I saw her later, Erica Kirk, she was showing the medal she's got a ring on every finger and they're massive. Is there a story behind that? Those rings?
I don't know. I imagine it. I imagine
there must be
very sentimental.
She's very into that kind of stuff. So there's I don't know what it is, but there's something there's something about those rings. I don't know what it is, but she's wearing them for a reason.
Yeah. I would have to say so, Brian. I mean, she is a very soft-spoken but captivating. The way that she speaks and gives a speech, it's a very.
Well, I'm gonna recommend something.
Pulls you in.
I'm gonna recommend something. Not that they're gonna take my advice. She's very good and very smart and everything else. But I think Stephen Miller should take over Turning Point USA. She could still be the CEO or whatever she is, but Stephen Miller, because I was trying to think, who could take that over and do what Charlie does and run it as a bit. We need a strong person, and that name just popped in my head. Stephen Miller could be the chief of he's deputy chief of staff now. He could be the chief of staff for the next MAGA president. But Turning Point is so important, and I'm so worried about it going away. Stephen Miller would be a good person to take over the leadership, everyday operation of Turning Point.
Stephen Miller has a way about him. He has a governor, like on a well, I say governor. When I was 16, I used to run a go-kart track, work on all the engines and everything, and we had governors on there so that the go-karts wouldn't go too fast and everybody would kill themselves. So they would, I had the fast one in case somebody didn't want to stop. I could go around and I'd pull the pit maneuver on them and then get them thrown off the track and all that.
I spent my youth driving at the go-kart tracks, Grand Prix Racerama in Davie, if you South Florida people.
Yeah.
Or the
I had a
Castle.
blast doing that.
Anybody remember Castle Park? Anybody remember Castle Park? All these things have been destroyed. They no longer. I don't remember where Castle. It was in South Florida.
Yeah, I was up in New Hampshire. I was 16.
Oh, you weren't down here.
That's when I learned to weld. I used to work on all the engines.
But I'll tell you though, Stephen Miller would be a great person to lead Turning. She's the CEO. I understand that, but we need a strong, charismatic man running the place, the day-to-day.
He can be friendly. I mean, listen, Brian, he can be friendly. He's sort of like he'll meet and or match the person's energy. If somebody wants to be really, I've seen him do it, where he can be, he can be direct, but he can be, polite. That's the problem.
See,
like ABC.
I didn't realize this was him until maybe a few months ago. The first time I saw Stephen Miller, and I didn't know it was him until recently because he made reference to it. When that hooker accused the Duke lacrosse team of raping her, which she's recanted since from prison or something, right? She said she made it up.
Yeah.
He went to Duke, and he was either on their newspaper or was the head of the Republican club, and he was on Fox News all the time defending the Duke lacrosse players. And I remember him back then. He was probably bald then too.
I remember that.
Yes, I remember him like it was yesterday, and I didn't know it was him. And then he made a reference to it recently, and then I looked up. I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's so badass." I mean, listen, I got to run, but appreciate the call. Now I want to tell you guys, I've been talking about my shirts a lot this week with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, because I got rid of all my shirts that don't fit me anymore because I lost all this weight a couple days ago, and this shirt I'm wearing now fit me like a girdle a few months ago. I like this shirt. It's a red Hawaiian shirt, and it fits me perfectly. It's like it was tailor-made because my stomach is flat now. And I didn't realize this, but I was on the road to, when I looked down at my feet, having obstructed view. I was on the road. I wasn't quite there yet. I had like maybe partially obstructed view. But, when you get older, you get over 50, you get over 40, you start to get the belly. And I just thought, well, that's life. It's not. I have a flat stomach. I do not have obstructed view or partially obstructed view. I can see everything right down there now with my stomach. And this shirt that fit like a girdle a few months ago fits like it was tailor-made, like a glove. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. They can help you lose weight no matter where you're located in the United States. 561-247-6300, 561-247-6300, and online, coastalweightlosssecret.com. We'll be right back. Oop. Oh, man. I'm so late on my timing here. Hold on. Oh. I'm going to share that, Kathy, when I get back. I'll credit you. My wife just told me what she thinks is going on. I think that is so true. Hold on. Hey there, hold on. Okay, we'll be back in 1 minute. I think you're right, Kathy. That makes so much sense. Oh, yes. That's exactly, yeah. It's nice having a studio at home. My wife's in the living room. She gave me she texted me, but then I was just talking to her. She gave. I'll share when I'm done with the Gold Report. 30 seconds. We'll be back. By the way, I started the show at 5 a.m. today, and I'm going to try to make that the new start time when I'm here at home. I can't do that when I'm at the radio station, but when I'm here at my home studio, so make sure you keep an eye out. All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. It's Steve Kane Show. Time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking?
Metal's looking very strong, Brian. The markets yesterday gold trading in a range of $4,090 all the way up to $4,180.
Holy smokes.
Closing out the day up $31.70 at $4,141.20. Silver was actually down 84 cents at $51.43. Platinum gained $6, closing out the day at $16.35, and palladium closed at $15.08, up $48. This morning we've got gold trading in a range of $4,139 on the low, all the way up to $4,219, hitting well over the $4,200 mark this morning. Right now we are at 41.8240. That's up $41.20. Silver up $1.37 at $52.80 the ounce. It got up over $53 earlier this morning. Platinum up $16 at $1,651 the ounce. And palladium gaining $17 at $1,525. So the markets are doing very well.
Wow.
And gold just looks like it wants to go to $5,000 now.
This is, you're probably getting a lot of people in that are getting into the metals for the first time now because everything's, where it is now and everyone's talking about it. Anytime somebody does something new, they're not sure. People that aren't familiar with the metals and they come in and they have however much money they want to buy on the metals, and you guys could give them some advice and walk them to what's right for them. How does that work? Somebody that's never bought the metals, knows nothing about them, and they call or come in.
Absolutely. We have many people coming in now, and over the years, and our key is to educate people as much as we can on the precious metals, so they know exactly what they're getting into, how the whole system works, and how simple it is to buy and sell precious metals. So we do take our time, and we are available to answer any questions. You can either come in or call us at our 800 number, and we're happy to educate. We feel that educating people is the best way to make long-term investors out of them and help them to do it the right way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, listen, if you can, stop into William Youngerman's in Boca. When we say it's literally a museum, once you walk in, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm not kidding. Okay, you'll see. I'm not even going to try to explain. You'll see when you walk in. The address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, on the south side of Palmetto. And when you walk into the Bank of America building, William Youngerman's shop is when you're in the lobby directly across from Bank of America. You can't miss it. His phone number, again, they open at 10 a.m., is 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. And you can find both his address and phone number on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right,
Thanks.
Take care. My wife just sent me a text during the break. And I think my wife is so spot on right now of what's going on here. If you're on hold, stand by. This is good. And this is all my wife's idea. Okay. The biggest problem that Trump has is that we've got too many good people on the bench, right? We've got J.D. Vance, we've got Marco Rubio, we've got Pete Hegseth, right? I mean, the list, Kristi Noem. I mean, we just have, I call them the super friends. We have a cabinet of young, uber conservative MAGA people. And over this last couple of days, President Trump said more than once, Marco Rubio is going to go down in history as the greatest Secretary of State in history. And I agree with that. Tell me a Secretary of State that's done what this man's done. Ended 8 wars. He's been there with the negotiating all of it. He's brilliant. And the conventional thinking is, well, JD is going to be the nominee. It'll have to be Marco Rubio as his vice president. And let me tell you, I don't know. I don't like this idea of Gen X getting passed over for the presidency. Okay, JD is a millennial. Marco Rubio, Florida's own Marco Rubio, is Gen X. He and I are the exact same age, and I love him, and he's awesome, and he's so freaking impressive, isn't he? And this is what my wife said to me. She texted me this during the break. She said she thinks the plan is for JD to take over Turning Point USA and Marco Rubio get the nomination. What do you guys think about that? J.D. Vance take over Turning Point USA, and Marco Rubio get the nomination. I think so. You know, the first show of Charlie Kirk's after the assassination was hosted by J.D. Vance, and if you watch the last, he had guest. Go back and look it up online. Watch the entire segment with him and Susie Wiles. The whole segment was talking about what they were going to do to keep Turning Point moving forward very specifically. I think my wife's onto something. And that would be freaking awesome to me, right? Don't you guys? You know, we love JD, but we don't want to get into a thing where, he's the vice president, he just gets the nomination. And I think that I don't see Marco wanting to be the VP unless something dramatically changed to JD. What do you guys think about that? If you're on hold, stand by. You guys hear me talk about all the time, I don't have health insurance. But you know what I have instead of health insurance? We have great sponsors on our radio station, don't we? And they take great care of me. And the latest is Life Imaging FLA. They gave me the full heart and body scan. What they did was spectacular. You've heard me talk with Joe Thomas so many times about all this life insurance I have. The reason I have so much life insurance is because I've had high cholesterol my whole life. Every doctor I've known's told me I'm going to have a heart attack. And I'm in my 50s now. I just assumed sometime I was just going to have a heart attack and probably be dead. I just assumed that. I couldn't get my cholesterol down. It's been a problem. When I went over to Life Imaging FLA and they were walking me through the process, I was with someone from the radio station. And they'll tell you at Life Imaging FLA, I was so scared because I knew when they gave me a scan, I was going to have blockage and plaque in my arteries. It was just going to be a matter of what the percentage was. I was prepared to get 30 to 40% blockage. I didn't sleep the night before, and I figured I was going to go from there to the ER or the next day have open heart surgery scheduled or have stents put in. And I found out no blockage, no plaque in my heart. I have the heart and arteries of a 25-year-old, and my body is also cancer-free. And the peace of mind that has given me, it's really been life-changing. It's such a weight off my shoulders. You know, I do something around the house and I'd get tired. Oh, I better stop. I'm going to have a heart attack. Those days are over because I know I'm healthy. Now, people go into Life Imaging FLA every day and find out, sadly, they have blockage or they have cancer. But hey, preventative, that's awesome. Then you can go and get it taken care of. Now, you want to call Life Imaging FLA. They have 3 locations. They have a location in Palm Beach County, a location in Broward County, and in Miami as well. Call Life Imaging FLA for your free heart scan right now with just a few minimum requirements. And this is valued at $699. Pick up your cell phone and call pound 250 and say free heart scan. That's pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. Again, pound 250 and say free heart scan. We don't have much time left, so I don't have time to take any more calls before the end of the show. But thanks, everyone, for tuning in today. It's been a great show, great calls, and the show has flown by. I feel like I'm like in the second hour, not the end of the fourth hour, because I started at 5 a.m. today. But the show has flown by. We've covered a lot of topics. I would be curious to hear your feedback, though, on my wife's thought about J.D. Vance taking over Turning Point USA and Marco Rubio getting the nomination. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that's likely? If you go back and watch the Susie Wiles interview that J.D. did sitting in for Charlie Kirk, that's a big tell as well. All right, everyone, you are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. My name is Brian Craig. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. with your calls and much, much more. Oh, the president has a press conference this afternoon with Kash Patel at 3 p.m. Eastern. What do you think that's about? 3 p.m. the president with Kash Patel press conference. See you tomorrow, 6 a.m. All right, we're clear from the radio. Oh, I forgot to bring that up. What do you guys, let me know in the chat, or you can call me. I can take some calls here in the post show. President Trump, it was announced by the White House. It's on his official schedule that the president is having a press conference with Kash Patel at the White House today at 3 p.m. Do you make anything of that? What do you expect out of that? It didn't say Pam Bondi. It said Kash Patel. And I'm trying to remember, have you seen with past presidents, have you seen a press conference with the FBI director and the president without the attorney general? It doesn't mean she's not going to be there. Pam Bondi could be there, but she's not on the White House announcement for the press conference. I don't know. I hope it's good. I hope it's good. That'd be a good one. If you're new to the program, make sure you subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, do me a favor of liking the video. And, you guys are my marketing team, okay? I do not have any marketing budget or anybody, and the way that you can help me promote this program is, of course, subscribing. Liking the video helps a lot with recommendations. But take the link to the program and post it on all your socials and encourage your friends to check the program out and subscribe too. So take the link and share on all your social media if you don't mind, and be a part of the Brian Craig Show marketing team. All right, guys, thanks for watching. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching.